On the blue side with second pick, which I will never get used to, as HLE did have right of first selection, and they selected the ability to pick first.
I'm making it a thing, right? So you have three choices now. You have R1, R5, or blue side. Those are the three picks. They chose R1.
Got it. I still want to just say right of first selection
yes, we
as
can
slowly
say that
as possible.
Yeah, we can say that right before as well.
I would prefer to do that. I did want to do the ruffle thing, but it really doesn't make any sense. So maybe I should just I should shelve that one for now and do something that, you know, maybe if, like, say we went to like First Stand or MSI and we started saying that, everyone would be like, dude, you're stupid. And I don't want that. I don't want that from my colleagues because they've never said that before.
No.
Ever. And so
We're
I don't
trading.
want to start now. As yeah, we've got the Azir coming on through. Could be Closer just locking in the Orianna, and there it is.
Nocturne was banned, so you could tell exactly the way Hanwha Life Esports were saying we're going to take this unfair trade. It's the Azir, but you don't get the Nocturne. But Pioshik's like, well, I've got the next best thing. Well, we'll take the Jarvan.
There's another next best thing, and that's the Xin Zhao. And then everything is going to be true and balanced, and as we expect. There are a lot of things left up and available, though, namely the Nico, which is still there, Yunara, a big one, that we don't often see first pick, but when there's a Jarvan already there, you're not as worried about the Vi and things like that. Kana Vi could come out, though. Yeah,
Varus a classic for Gumayushi, and he is going to lock that one in.
Yeah.
Do love to see when Gumi gets his hands on this pick. The Vi you mentioned will be the next step, potentially, although Kanavi teasing us with, or Zeka's teasing us, but maybe telling Zeka to hover release and he's thinking about it. But either way, Xin Zhao definitely feels to be the strongest pick in this situation with the picks available. Like, if Ambessa was up, I think there's definitely some leeway there. If you ended up going for Aatrox, I don't think you'd show it here. The Sivir with the Jarvan on DNS's side makes a ton of sense, and it's also opting into a later game scenario where you're scaling and trying to play through front to back and wave clear, where Hanwha Life Esports have been at their weakest in the second half of the game.
Yep. Another really fun fact here that is definitely related to the game is the acronyms from the beginnings of the bans actually both spell words. So we've banned a jar on one side and a man on the other.
Ah.
So that's kind of cool, isn't it?
That is, yeah.
So there it is. That's just a little bit of a fun fact for you guys. I like to add a little bit extra when I am on the broadcast. So there it is. Jop isn't quite as cool, so we're going to ignore.
When you get the vowel in between the consonants, you know, you can make things happen.
Yeah, man-buh also doesn't quite work. They could be trying to ban a man bun, which I would have taken offense to if I hadn't have already cut it off.
Are there any O champions left available?
Yeah, like, if they ban Yunara second on the side of HLE, they could have been on their way to banning the man bun.
Aww.
And then they first ban Nico next game. Oh, it'd be perfect. We'll just have to see whether that is exactly where they're going.
I think it's really interesting that the Poppy is banned here. Poppy has been really terrible in lane, but has been decent in terms of team fights, but it's been nerfed significantly. It's not really very viable in the jungle. The Xin Zhao's already taken away. The Gnar makes a little bit more sense here.
Yep. It also works with the acronym situation as well, because it's kind of like they're saying jar and then they fell over. It's like jar, you know? It kind of works perfectly.
See what this final ban will be, because they have plenty of engage. Anything that pushes lane in terms of supports would be something they could have considered. The Bard was the best one. The Gwen will be taken away, so Gwen and Gnar out of the top lane. See who makes the first move here in terms of that, because DN Supers do have the counter pick. They can choose top lane or support here. The Alistar feels really safe, and it is a Peter favorite. It also sets up Orianna incredibly well, so I feel like they're feeling really good about this blind pick into having a counter pick for Dudu.
Yeah, let's see what Delight is going to go with here, as of course his signature Rakan will be locked away. A lot of engage on both sides of the rift here. But being able to get this Alistar through without having to worry about a Sylas is certainly something that's been pretty good in the past. But man, this is a rock-solid composition, despite the lack of Malphite.
There is no Gwen, there's no Gnar.
No Glenn? Ah, Gwen. Yes, there is none of her.
And also, it looks like Zahin may be the opt-in here for Dudu, because Zahin has really struggled in lane, but becomes this incredible threat later on. And into the Scion, you kind of get to skip the hard part.
Yeah.
Rek'Sai is just the more common pick, though. So
yeah, so this is less fun, but it is definitely effective.
There are now 5 threats for Gumayushi to deal with in this game. He has to deal with the flanking Rek'Sai, flag and drag Cataclysm. The ball carriers are insane in this comp for the Orianna.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely
she powers
ridiculous.
Everyone, who will also then be sped up by the Sivir ultimate. And there's some peel here, right? Like Xin Zhao and Sion. There's also Azir. But the coordination is going to, again, have to be there to keep Guma safe. He does not have a tank support with him in this game. In a lane matchup that should be decent, obviously, for Guma and Delight here, but can be a little bit volatile. If I took the nameplates off, I would feel incredibly good about Hanwha Life Esports' draft because they have so much frontline for this Varus. Even though there's a lot of threats, it feels inherently safe because he's got so much range. But Hanwha Life Esports have a lot to prove to me if I'm going to trust this composition coming into game one.
Yep. Also the fact that Zeka hasn't necessarily been in the greatest form so far over the last couple of weeks, and some of the Azir games have left a little to be desired, right? And he is going to be the consistent damage in these team fights and has to be getting work done if HLE want to be able to win here, because Gumayushi is going to be on Poke Varus, right? So you're not necessarily doing as much of that consistent DPS during the fights. Obviously, the Poke is going to be very valuable. He can steal away all sorts of objectives because he's Gumayushi, but I don't think that it's necessarily going to be the be-all and end-all in these team fights. And DNS, they've got a Sivir. They love doing that DPS. Let's get onto the Rift here. Game number 1.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for game number 1, DNS versus HLE. And I do need to correct myself a little bit. I think I was a little harsh on Zeka. I think the last time on the Rift, he was probably the best performing player. But prior to that, we had our doubts.
It's
so
the ups
let's
and
hope
downs,
that he
you know?
holds on to that form.
Exactly. It's the ups and downs. I do think that he has the most critical role to play in this game because he is going to be both an engage tool as well as a potential peel tool for Guma, and his side lane pressure is all Hanwha Life have in sides because they otherwise have a Sion, right? And
yeah.
due to his playing Rek'Sai, which is not, you know, Fiora levels of backdoor, but they have the Sivir, so they're going to naturally have a lot of prio when we get to later on objectives in the game because that mid lane is always going to be under Duckdom's control, barring any accidents there. He's also got a spell shield, so relatively safe to continue to make that pressure happen. So map control and vision make this composition of DNS so oppressive. The only way you could make this harder for Guma to play is if they had the Nocturne, but that was, of course, banned away.
Yeah. And I guess the one saving grace is the fact that maybe they want to kill Zeka instead. As level 2 is going to be gained here by Peter, decides not to throw out the Pulverize there as you saw Gumayushi get slammed into the wall. Just wanted to displace him as much as possible, which is understandable here.
Delight, he's playing an old classic. You know, we haven't seen him play it as much recently, but this is the champ he got famous for as far back as his bro days.
He has been an incredibly good Rakan player. That is absolutely true. Looking forward to seeing whether he can have one of his vintage performances. I believe he played it in the last series that they played and looked pretty good in that moment. As Kanavi on the screen now, moving down towards the bottom side after a full clear up top. And both junglers at pretty similar clip right now as far as the clear.
Consider also, if you're watching at home, Hanwha Life go 1-3.
Yeah.
With DRX looking the way they do now, there is a chance this team does not make it out of groups, does not get to play in the play-ins. That actually could happen.
That is actually ridiculous.
You know, it's been the conversation we've had about this team that we know they're going to get it together. Like, oh, they were super far ahead. They kind of messed up the mid game. That Aatrox game everyone remembers where it was definitely going to be Kanavi Palm until things kind of fell really by the wayside. We've been like, oh, they'll bounce back. But if they don't bounce back here, right, like this is the moment to bounce back, then you're starting to have serious questions about what this roster's ceiling is for the LCK Cup.
Yeah, I'm a little worried. Also a little bit worried about this fight that is starting to break out. 4 versus 4 in the river as they just dive on top of Koshik. He flashes out of the way though as Kanavi is now the one in trouble. Can Koshik actually escape? The answer is no as Gumayushi picks up first blood. Kanavi likely to go down now though as Duckdom collects one for himself. The barrier is going to be used here as Peter with a great pulverizing closer will be able to take down Guma. Flash out there as Zeka gets him to safety, but a 1 for 2 in favor of DNS.
The ones to pull the trigger first were DNS, and that gave him a huge inherent advantage at the beginning of that fight. The fact that Pyosik had flash, but Kanavi had to use his first, meant that he had a lot more wiggle room, a lot more space to work with there. Hanwha Life Esports were priced into a situation where they could not really retreat. They had to fight their way out. And unfortunately for them, that is going to result in a 2-for-1, as Kanavi is the one who has to flash initially here when this comes through. He does not want to get flag and dragged, so flashes away. Then looks for the re-engage. Pyosik has his flash to use defensively, and that's really the most important part of this. Peter gets enough time to actually end up getting the stun here as well, and Delight is trying his best to get away, flashes out. Man. But there's just too much damage here. The double pull comes in. The knockback on the Zeka means that he is going to have to flash as well, so it's more insult to injury here.
Oh, a bit of a replay here as DNS fans losing their minds. Oh, is that the DNS guy from last year?
I'm not sure. I think it might be.
Well, he's looking pretty psyched about
I think it is. Like I had to index my brain for a second, but I'm pretty sure that is the guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Some famous people in the audience here as Delight tries to escape, and Peter says no. But right now, DNS very happy with how this game has gone. Pulverize onto Gumayusi here as the Boomerang Blade doing a whole bunch of work, and Guma needs to be very careful as Doctorm with a blue buff. Just not really worried about just pressing as many buttons as he would like.
Yeah, that's a bit of an issue there for them in that bottom side. Guma had already used his teleport, and because he opted for teleport in this lane, doesn't have any combat summoner to utilize in these types of situations to try to trade back. So this domino effect is really starting to hit hard.
Yeah, you can see closing out, speeding himself up with that dissonance, throwing the orb at Zeka, who will probably look for a reset. Yeah, he does. So level 6 gain, Shockwave now available for closer. It should mean that DNS are able to grab themselves this first dragon, especially with Peter clearing out all of the vision. So DNS actually just going from strength to strength in this game, looking to reach about a 1,000 gold lead, and a great start in this game with compositions that are pretty evenly matched as we wait until later on in the game, right? Like, the carry potential of both an Orianna and a Sivir certainly skyrocket as the game goes on. Obviously, the Azir is no slouch, but this is one of those games where DNS are probably looking at a late game that they're feeling very comfortable with, and even in an even game state.
Not to mention that Hanwha Life Esports have looked better at this stage of the game than the later parts of the game. And so, you know, that's an early trend. I don't want to say that's necessarily going to be the truth in every game we see, but it makes you wonder about how this game is going. Does not look like a positive for the moment, as this team has always been shaped by its jungler, right? As far back as like the crazy swaps and Willer stepping in to save the day. When Chovy was on this roster, the jungler who will not be named also was probably to blame for a lot of Hanwha's struggles when they ended up getting part of that DRX roster in 2023. Grizzly couldn't solve that issue, but once Peanut joined, this team really started firing on all cylinders, right? Picked up an LCK title, and Kanavi, very aggressive, but it's a great start in this game as he's got Spell Shield.
Yeah, you can see HLE actually able to grab themselves that first plate, and so with a little bit of a shove, feeling pretty good about it. Evening out the CS as well is Gumayusi, and will be able to create a little bit of a lead for himself as they do shove another wave forward. So a better look here for HLE.
As, yeah, this is going to be another wave crashing through, and see if anything can come of this. Looks like they're just going to be able to chill under turret and get all of these minions.
Wolf, I have to say, it was very fun that you mentioned the G-Riz. It's been a long time since I've thought about him.
Yeah, no,
and the memory is, it's a nice one. I'm happy to have it. Thank you for giving it to me.
I love when we have these players, these challengers players who are pushed into, you know, unusual circumstances and rise to the occasion. We've had so many of them over the years. Poby, arguably like the most famous one just because he's Poby, but you know, we had, you know, Raptors step in for Umpty, I think I want to say, when the a lot of COVID was happening and stuff like that, which is...
Johan as well.
Yeah.
You know, of course, like world champion. Standing beside Pyosik as he hoisted the trophy in 2022.
Duckdom was not really a challengers player at the time, but I do remember when Duckdom heroically stepped in with a broken arm. With his cast on and carried the... I think it was Nongshim at the time. No, was it... Who was that, the roster?
It wasn't KT, was it?
Was it D+?
Anyway,
he's been on... Duckdom is basically... He's almost collected every LCK team at this point.
He's got a lot of jerseys at home, let's just say that. But it's hard to remember.
He ended up carrying his team to victory once with a broken arm, which was a really cool sub-in. Sometimes circumstances happen where you get to see a really cool moment like that. Duckdom is pushing hard.
Yeah, Duckdom looking for the angle hit. Spell Shield doesn't quite work out, though, as he flashes, realizing that he needs to get out of the way. Chains of Corruption not quite going to connect there as Grand Entrance just to Re-engage onto Peter. Docdom now looking for a little bit of an angle here as he does throw out some ricochets, but it looks like DNS are going to be backing away for now.
Yeah, there was some consideration from Pyosik there that because Guma had already used his ultimate, that he was potentially going to be killable there, even if they traded 1-for-1 with his Cataclysm. Maybe he kills Guma, Docdom escapes, and Pyosik sacrifices his life for it, and it ends up being worth, but they do not opt for it in the end. Guma's flash is back up.
Looks like Dudu having a bit of fun here towards his top side, even if the CS is very even between the two. Making sure that he keeps Zeus as low as possible and will be just farming wherever he would like. I think picking up a couple of plates already and might be able to get another one here as Zeus is desperately trying to get back home.
I think one of the reasons why Orianna and Azir are traded so often is because Orianna is one of those champs that actually have played insanely aggressively and with a high mastery. You can actually win the lane into the Azir pretty well, and Closer is doing just that. It's kind of naturally pulling up a significant gold lead here. He picked up a kill in that earlier skirmish, so he's just going to continue to maintain a lot of prio in this lane, as we do have a bit of a maybe contest here, late TP.
Yeah, there's a pulverize onto 2 here as Peter makes his way forward. Crescent Guard comes down though as a Cataclysm to bring Pyosik back in as Dudu is coming on over, but Zeka's gonna get here first. Closer making his way in as well. Can he find it? As okay, there is one of them as Shockwave hits onto 2 DNS. Throw down the Wombo combo and grab a couple of kills.
I mean, the fight at the beginning of this looked like it was a little bit too optimistic for DNS because they didn't have the Rex side. The TP was late. Closer wasn't there, but they were able to kind of bait Hanwha into sticking around long enough there. And then the follow-up from Peter is actually fantastically timed. So when you watch this initially, you're like, okay, but there's no damage. You know, there's no damage here at all, and that's a change out. But they get his ultimate, right? And they pull the Cataclysm out to buy time for Dudu to show up, and then Peter sets up Closer for success here. And there was an angle for Kanavi to flash out, but when he misses that opportunity, they're just chain CC'd. They both had flash, could not get out.
Yep, Dudu there with the flash on Burrow to make sure that they were in the air forever. And now a 2,000 gold lead for DNS. Oh my goodness, don't tell me it's happening. This is not the timeline for today.
I mean,
it's ridiculous.
It's DNS DK right now is what it looks like, Atlas.
Yeah, that's, and that's balance in all things. That's how it's supposed to be. It's all right. We're knocking each other up here between the two supports, but a headbutt back onto Delight. And he is just food for Docdom.
What is going on?
Well, DNS are winning, Wolf. That's what's going on. That's what I'm seeing here on my screen.
Now, we came out of a replay there, and we kind of came in at a awkward timing. Maybe we'll learn a little bit more about why Delight was there, and maybe what cooldowns he had available, but he did not have his ult. It's coming up in 10 seconds, and he did have flash. He ended up getting caught there in the river, where there is an immaculate amount of vision.
Yeah.
In this dragon,
and
or around this dragon.
That's a free double dragon to come on through as well, and with an Infernal Soul on the rift.
With Sivir.
Oh dear.
And with Orianna.
And Orianna's going the I do damage build, even outside of just throwing my ultimate out. Like, this is, Closer is going to be very frightening with an Infernal Soul, if that does indeed come on through. Dudu is going to get roared at here by Zeus, but just going to throw out a Prey Seeker as Delight just trying to clear out all the divots that have been put into the ground. Bit of a golf reference there for Dagon. I think he got that one.
If he wants to play a sad tune after getting picked earlier with his Vandal Pipes, he's got those put together now. Both supports building that item in this scenario. I feel that with the Lethality Varus, not as valuable as it is going to be for the Sivir to have that support item there, but still going to be the item of choice. It's just very good at the moment. Even with the nerf coming through, it seems pretty good still. Yeah,
people still pretty keen on building that one. As Essence Reaver and Ghostblade both completed for AD carries. Docdom probably wanting to make it to the Quick Blades to feel really good about how the game is going, but Essence Reaver feels really nice as well, even with the slight nerf to that one. And so DNS just kind of cruising towards a mid-game now, as Zeus will be able to take some more crockery from this bottom lane. But I don't think that's going to be enough to even out this game state. Still 2.2k the advantage for DNS. And we've spoken already about the fact that they're very happy to play this game late. And that is what they're looking at now, just cruising towards that late game.
The saving grace
they can set things up
for Hanwha Life Esports, or what has to be the saving grace if they're going to come back in this game, is that A lot of this lead is on this Rek'Sai, which doesn't necessarily translate to an insanely snowballing game state. And also that Guma has a lead himself with all the plate gold he picked up. You know, he has 2 additional plates over what Duckdom and Peter were able to get there in the bottom lane. And so maybe this is how Hanwha Life Esports can just utilize this. Yes, the Sion is behind, but he's still a brick wall. The front line they have and the range that they have to try to outplay the Orianna. You know, Orianna can zone a lot, but it's very reliant on Prio. They do have a setup up here on the top side. Zeka has flash and ult.
Yep,
Ooh,
Peter
cheeky blast cone.
making his way in. Hex flash, there it is, Hepa Pulv onto Zeka. But I just don't know whether they're really going to be able to kill the Azir.
The crazy thing
held on to.
Well, about that play, too, from Peter with the Hex Flash is his Flash was coming up at the same time. Must have been tracking that, so he could have actually Hex Flashed into a Flash knockback.
Hex Flash?
Yeah, that actually
that
almost
sick.
happened, I think, but he did not quite have it in time.
Man, I want him to flash so that he can do that again. Double pulverize to come through here from Peter. But no one there to really do too much about it. Flag damage there from Kyoshik, because now Kanavi's going in. Surprise, as now Duckdom on the hunt, looking for a bit of an angle here, but there's the flash in, the quickness onto 3, Empress Divide onto all of them! And it's Gumayusi that's wiping the floor with DNS. Flashes for everyone, but Kanavi should be able to finish off Kyoshik, and HLE on the board in a big way.
Yeah, they certainly deleted a lot of that massive gold lead that DNS were putting together with this one, and the combo was real. Everybody presses buttons together in a choke point. And Peter and Pioshik, again, very far up, too close to the sun, trying to make this play happen. Duckdom runs over, and then they're all in this tri-brush. Delight who sets this up into the Emperor's Divide.
My God.
It is just nasty.
And that was Chains of Corruption as well. The kitchen sink hit DNS, and there was nothing they could do about it. And even though that piercing arrow does go wide, Kanavi is able to finish off the kill. So that is going to even things out quite nicely here between these two squads, as we're down to a 200 advantage for DNS. And the Drake's obviously going to be important here, but HLE moving in the right direction here in this game.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be big in the Guma category, right? When I was talking about win cons here for Hanwha Life Esports, he is now the only one with a significant foothold in this game, but that has ballooned compared to when I mentioned it before. He was like, I don't know, 60 gold up or something. He's 1.6k the advantage now and has his completed Manamune.
Yeah, that's it's a big 2-item spike here for Gumayusi. We'll see what he's going to be putting together next, but should be that these items come through thick and fast for the Varus, as the lethality ones aren't necessarily the most expensive. As Dudu is just going to take this turret. He's tanking it up though, so he does have to vacate. That one will be going down very soon.
When you have your quest complete as the AD carry as well, you get more gold for takedowns. So if you're the benefactor of a big play like that post-quest completion, you get even more money, and the snowball can really roll down the hill.
Oh, Yoshi going to get engaged on here. I believe has his flag and drag, but working out where he wants to use it is Delight. Running real fast with that quickness, but now won't have it as Peter is closing in. Not a lot of cooldowns available. And with the Drake coming on up, let's see whether DNS can actually fight for this. Pioshik at half health.
I think they might, if they can identify. I mean, look, there's no Varus ult, there's no Delight ult here. The problem is Closer can't get in.
Dudu has teleport, so he's going to take this first turret of the game and then look to teleport in. He does so right now. Closer now going to get thrown back here as he flashes on top of Zeka. Don't know about that one as he's now running away. There's a pulverized. No, it's a Crescent Guard from Kanavi as he does manage to take down the dragon. Kills the cow as well as Duckdom has to flash out of the fight, but it's a disaster for DNS. And HLE will do exactly what they want in this game. Rift Herald also running amok. As Dudu and Duckdom, I don't think they're going to be able to do too much here, as Kanavi doing his favorite thing and driving the Rift Herald into this outer turret.
They had the setup, and I mentioned that Zeka needs to be strong in sides in this game. He has a big responsibility in this one, but he has Closer pinned down, and so Closer can't join the fight. And so much about this team composition before the Sivir gets 2-3 items is the Orianna and the combos that can be set up. But look at where the Azir is on the mini-map. Denying entry. You mentioned the flash as well. Instead of flashing towards his teammates, trying to like sacrifice himself to look for an ult, which he can't really get to the carries anyways. Look at where Gumayusi's positioned. He flashes away. He's just not here. And he's not enough damage in this composition. Guma is massively ahead, untouched in this fight, and Duckdom cannot alone do it, even with the engaged setup there with Peter, with his ultimate. Just do not have the tools, despite Delight being down his ultimate. I think DNS eyes too big for their stomach on this one.
Yeah. And a couple of fumbles in a row will mean that HLE now have a gold advantage. They also have that dragon stopping the stacking here for DNS. That third Drake could have been very, very nice for a bit of a win condition here and map control.
I mean, so much out of the sails here of DNS in these last two fumbles. And also, Dudu's teleport is now down. Zeus has teleport advantage, so for him to join fights or skirmishes, he has to use his tunnels to get around the map. It's not going to be as comfortable here. Delight.
Yeah, a bit of a pulverize here, so I could be in a little trouble, but does just battle dance his way to safety. So that is going to be A-okay.
I mean, unfortunately for DNS, there's just not a play here, and they sent their Rek'Sai out of lane, so Zeus is chilling, and he can, like I said, with the teleport advantage he has, just join at any time. And HLE really well and truly have that prio and vision advantage I was talking about that they need to secure to get through the mid game. They're utilizing it incredibly well thus far.
Yeah. And now Gumayusi has a loss. Whisper, he just managed to complete his Mirror Manor as well as Kanavi. Once again going in, surprise, surprise, finds a pulverize onto two though, just Peter, as Gumayusi looking to try and answer this one. Chains of Corruption connects onto Closer, and he's the target. Quickness charms him up, and down goes the Orianna. As now Doctom, the next one on the menu here. Kanavi not quite able to find the wins, becomes Lightning, but I don't think Doctom's going to be able to do too much, as he does have the spell shield. That's going to work. Takes down Delight to start this one off, but Gumayushi's got enough damage, and down will go the Sever. And DNS just cannot find anything. They can't catch a break.
I mean, it's like Kanavi and Hanwha were playing a game of chicken here with the Closer. Like, when are you going to ult? Are you going to look for this one? They didn't look for the ult on the Delight moments before. And then Closer here has an opportunity to potentially set one up, but it's not on the multi-target he wants. And by the time they get on top of him and he tosses it out, it's way too late. It's no value whatsoever. And I think Hanwha Life should have been perhaps more cautious than they were about engaging into an Orianna and a choke point right there, but they were able to chain the CC. Yeah. And the patience from Closer, I think, probably not warranted in this case. Really wanted to have the biggest possible impact, and it was just too late.
And now Cyrildas is done here for Gumayusi. He's hit 3 items. Doctom has like 2 long swords in comparison to a completed third item. It is a 2,400 gold advantage here for Gumayusi in that bottom lane, and a 3,000 gold advantage for HLE. The first considerable one that we've had so far this game. And it's 21 minutes in, Baron on the table, and with an Azir, that could be taken almost at any time here in this game if DNS aren't careful.
I mean, we started this game off saying, I mean, I did, saying any team in the LCK can get like a 4 or 5K gold lead on anybody. They didn't quite get that big of a lead, but it was significant. But they fumbled so much of this mid game that now Hanwha Life Esports have this insanely strong Azir. The Varus is out of control. And Pyosik is trying to do something. Oh boy.
Nice pullback there. Pyosik has to flash to get himself to safety. As in goes Kanavi, gets headbutted back, but I don't know about that for DNS, as there's the knockups, as down will go Doctom. Empress Divide doesn't do too much here, as Dudu's able to avoid it with the Void Rush, but I just don't know whether he's going to survive, and the answer is absolutely not. Double kill comes through for Kanavi on this Zao, and it should be Baron.
Every single fight that DNS lose, they get like 1 kill back. You're like, aha, I got Delight. And this time we got Guma, got a shutdown, but it's not a trade up. The Baron goes over. In each and every one of these fights, Hanwha Life gets stronger and stronger. And unfortunately, this might have been for DNS, backbreaking loss of the team fight, because now how are you ever going to get Prio back to utilize your Orianna combos? You know, it's really rough here. And it's Pyosik stepping just a little bit too far forward. And Kanavi, he does not hesitate in these moments. If you give him someone to go on, he will. Delight gets the follow-up here as well, so they're really split. And then it's just chain CC, as Zeus has been insane on this Sion pick this season, by the way. Like, yes. He is always where he needs to be. He has the perfect angle. And this has just been a great mid-game for Hanwha Life Esports, changing the identity of the storyline set up a little bit here today.
Well, let's see whether HLE can hold on to this dragon here. As Kanavi and Delight, the only ones really in the area, as Zeka does blast cone his way over. There's the quickness into the backline. They look for Closer, and there's the Chains of Corruption from Gumayusi. Hail of Arrow is going to help Zeka take this one down, as Peter with the Unbreakable Will trying to keep himself alive. A massive knockup from Dudu, though, as he takes out Zeka. He's still at full health, but so is HLE as they look to chase down DNS. Doctom does have a big old shield with the barrier. Now Zeus looking to hold him down, but the Q isn't going to land, and Gumayusi is still firing the shots. Dudu's trying to take out the Scion here, and he's not going to be able to get through the shield. Doctum trying to get away, and he should be able to do so here as he gets out of the brush. Wanted to actually try and kill Gumushi here, as Dudu, I don't think he's going to be able to seek this prey, as the dragon's still up, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone's sort of taking a nap.
That was a wild fight. That's the fight you're scared of. Remember when, like, you know, when we started this season off, we looked at the patch notes, we're like, oh, this is an 80 carry meta. Everyone's going to be playing through bot. Watching Duckdom in this fight explains why. Critically, the ult here from Closer goes off before he dies. If he doesn't get that ultimate off, this fight is a complete wash. And then the rest of the team just play bodyguard for Duckdom as he kites back and does an insane amount of damage. I would love to see his numbers in that team fight, because it is probably cracking 7-8K, especially with how much time he spent hitting that Scion. He goes for the risky play after this as well, trying to look for Guma. It does not pan out, but it was so close. So he goes in the brush here, wants to get that damage on the Q return. It's almost enough, but Dudu cannot get the gap closed there.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work, as two Drakes now picked up here for HLE. Back out onto the map a little bit faster than DNS this time around, and will be augmenting that damage ever further. Dudu does need to get involved in these fights, has 3 items and 5 kills to his name. The year of Dudu is going to have to be what they rely on if they want to win this game, as he looks for a flank angle. Now Closer makes his way in with a teleport, and DNS are ready for a team fight. As HLE, they can back away if they would like. Still 1 Baron left on the table for another 14 seconds, and that's what they were utilizing there to go for a bit of a siege. But no inner turrets to fall down just yet.
Still a playable game here for DNS, but getting back map control is kind of step 1. And they were able to survive this siege. They were able to defend all of their inners, right? I mean, the top one wasn't under siege, but the bottom one was defended. They got vision back in their jungle. That's kind of step 1. And now they're looking to brace for a long, slow lull state before these next objectives come up, where Sivir is just going to be hard farming as much as possible, looking for that 3rd item, or then she can challenge once again a fight for either this Baron, or more likely the Dragon. When she started up, Dragon, a more realistic take. Zeka should be able to complete his Zonias. I don't know how much gold he's sitting on right now, but he should be able to complete his Zonias before that fight breaks out. But the fact that he doesn't have it right now could be an opportunity here in the interim for DNS if they want to collapse on him in sides. But this is exactly why the rest of Hanwha Life Esports are playing through that top side right now.
Yeah, possible angle here, but Lord Doms needs to be completed here for Docdom before he's going to be able to do anything to Zeus, and probably needs an Infinity Edge if he wants to be that huge teamfight threat. We saw in that last fight, his positioning, the way he played it was beautiful. If he had a couple of extra items, if he had parity with Gumushi at that moment, things could have been a whole lot better, as he does finish the Lord Doms, but IE does need to be done, as 4,000 gold is the approaching gold advantage here for HLE, with full control as we look to this late game. Baron up in 1.5 minutes and 3 minutes on this next Dragon. And DNS, like you were saying, not out of it just yet. But still, it is looking like HLE have just been able to take control of so many of these more recent team fights. They're looking a bit better coordinated so far.
Yeah. The name of the game for Duckdom, Farming Simulator 2026.
Yep.
Teddy was the first one to plat that game, but we'll see if Duckdom can just weather the storm. The fact that it's 2-2 and they got that early double means that this next Dragon is not Infernal Soul for Hanwha Life Esports. So DNS could opt to try to just buy some additional time for that IE to come through. But it is a pretty tough margin, I think. And all the stats you get from triple Infernal Dragon is going to really add up anyways if you give that Dragon over to Hanwha Life Esports.
Yeah, this is the thing. And then you're also risking a quadra Infernal Soul, which is just kind of obscene amounts of damage potential, as Dudu is going to get stopped in his tracks here. Takes a couple of turret shots, but isn't too worried about it. Although, with Kanavi coming down, maybe he should be a little bit worried about it. Wind becomes lightning, and in goes Kanavi. Still, Dudu is able to take a whole lot of these tunnels and should be absolutely fine in the end. Just Rek'Sai things,
They're
ladies and gentlemen.
to collapse on the Zeka here, but Zeka is very aware that no one is coming to bail Dudu out and is just going to back off, I think. Hides in the tri-brush there, and they wanted to make something of that, but they're unable to find him.
Yep.
And
Teleport's available for both of our top laners as well, so it could be an honest 5v5 if both of them are allowed to teleport in.
I think that the Baron start is something neither team really wants to do right now, just because it puts you at such an inherent risk. And because both top laners have teleport, like you said, you know, they will show up, and whoever has the favorable angle there could actually change the fight, and whoever is not on Baron will probably have that angle. So see what ends up happening here. My expectation is that the Dragon will actually be what the first objective to be started up, unless something crazy happens before then. But even still, Hanwha Esports are setting up insane vision on the entryway to this Baron right now.
Oh, you can see Zeus going to have to go back home here, as Dudu is winning these side lanes quite aggressively. Does have a 20 CS advantage and a 3,000 gold lead with those 5 kills that he's put together. I think now that Dudu goes back home, we'll see what he can actually put together, and getting closer and closer to a Spirit Visage by the looks of things.
Yeah.
For item number 4. It's going to be quite difficult to kill this guy, as they do catch Delight on a reset. DNS do get that information.
Dukdom is farming up a Storm. He only put a quick cloak together. See if he can grab a BF sword or what his next item is going to be that he puts into his inventory here, getting on his way to that IE. And if they can buy time before Baron to get that, that's probably the best plan. I think trying to contest Dragon is just not realistic. They defend the Baron, like Hanwha Esports wanted to trap them there. They set up all that vision, but DNS just farmed and played slow, but played defensively and prevented Hanwha from starting it. They'll have to give the Dragon up, and that's so painful.
Yeah.
But there is still a chance if the IE completes here for Dukdom, and that is what they're trying to play through. He gets the BF sword I was mentioning, does not quite have the completion just yet.
Also wants that level 16, get as much value out of the On the Hunt as possible. Should be able to grab that from next couple of waves. Not quite at half towards level 16 just yet. But Dudu's level 18, so is Zeus. And these top laners are only going to get more and more dangerous.
They can't get into this Baron pit, and all the deep vision that was reset here for DNS means they can rush this down. I mean, that's a Fed Azir. This is going to be relatively quick, and they have such good turn here. They have so much CC.
Well, they get the teleport out of the Rek'Sai, and that looks like exactly what they wanted. And they're now just going to look to get out of there. Yeah, mission successful.
Now I wonder how DNS approached the next setup here, because you could just put Closer into the bottom lane and try to keep the Rek'Sai topside here. Looks like they're in fact going to try to clear some deep vision themselves. They also have a pretty strong composition for rushing Baron down. If they had the IE, it'd be even better.
Oh, all right. Dudu just going to get sped up there with the dissonance. And Zeka almost gets through the shield.
This Serpent's Fang here, pretty valuable for Guma. He just picked that one up.
Oh yeah, especially if Dudu's able to teleport into the next fight. Obviously, that is going to take a little bit of time, but he's got a Spirit Visage, and with that huge shield that can then just be eradicated by a Serpent's Fang, that's a lot of value.
I mean, Dukdom is getting so much money. They're giving everything that they can find to him. I thought he was even going to go over and take those wolves. He might after he clears this wave. He just needs that IE. They have to buy time for it, and the time is running out.
Yeah, Delight engaging on him, not exactly the most ideal scenario, as Pyosik taking a lot of damage. And with Gumyushi not even there, that is a scary prospect. Zeus now pushing in towards this bottom side. It's Closer that goes over to try and answer, because he's the one that still has that teleport available. But Zeus should be able to take this out of inner turret, pretty comfortably.
They did ultimately, you know, make that swap I was talking about because of the teleport situation, but it means that the Azir feels completely free to hard control topside where the Baron actually is. And they did not give him the Merc Wolves, but he hits level 16. He has got to be so close, like a wave or two away. And I see him stopping there on the mini-map, see if he's going to back and take it. Because that's like literally what Hanwha is waiting for, sorry, what DNS are waiting for right now.
Yeah, we got an ulti used by Zeus here to get down towards this bottom lane once again. He does still have the teleport, as Closer's also got a very cool hat. Kept his arm guard. Decides not to go for the Zhonya's because he hadn't broken that one just yet. So the next fight,
there it is.
Maximum damage possible.
The back is real. Hanwha Esports, like, they could try to strike at this exact moment because they saw Dukdom's not on the wave, right? And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. They need to send Sion up there. He is coming over. Dukdom has to run as fast as he can back to this fight.
Maybe he has to ult to get himself over here as Kanavi going for the engage onto Dudu. Peter finding the pulverize onto Zeka in the backline as now Closer throws out the shockwave, but it's onto Zeka, who had already gone into stasis, and they take down the counter, start this one off. Zeus is tanking so well, but Dukdom with these 4 items complete is terrifying. Boomerang is, Pyosik not quite hitting the Cataclysm, but there's the knockup from Dudu, who gets into the backline to take down down Zeka, but there is Doctom falling as well. Gumayusi doing so much damage in this fight. Double knockup once again, as Closer is the one that needs to stay alive, but he doesn't. It's Gumayusi that holds the distance, and Dudu is just getting kited around the map and cannot do anything with Zeus the Beefcake in the front line.
If there was ever going to be a redemption game for Kuma Tsunara earlier this week, this was going to be it. He did so much work in this fight, and he has to critically win that fight against Doctom, who shows up to the fight late. You can see how much work he does, and this is basically just DNS saying we have a really insanely tanky front line with this Rek'Sai, with the Alistar. You just need to buy time for Doctom to come here and stop the Baron. They succeed, they lose the Alistar, but when Doctom shows up, the fight becomes so tricky here. Look at this follow-up from Pyosik as well.
Barely, like he could have hit 3.
But look at Kuma in this moment here, flashes away, gets help from Zeus, and then takes Closer out of the fight from maximum range here. Look at this. That snipe is so critical. If he does not get that, if Dudu kills Guma or he's not able to actually line that shot up, then I think this fight turns out completely different. He now has nearly a 5,000 gold lead over his opposition. I think he might have just won the game for his squad.
Yep, that's a quadra kill. 10, 2, and 7 here for Gumayusi.
He bought the item that does more damage when you get a takedown near the objective, that lethality item. So he's really Kuma on the steal right now.
He certainly is, and he's got all of the items. That's as many as you can possibly put together. All right, another team fight to come on through here as Closer takes another piercing arrow that just does so much damage. Into the backline does go Dudu, looking for the angle there as Pyosik with the Cataclysm, but he gets charmed up and taken down to the GA. And you can see Zeus just buying so much space. Emperor's Divide onto Dudu and onto Peter, and Zeus finally will go down. The cinders fly, but down goes Doctom as well, and Peter will follow. HLE just getting a little too big to fail now, as Zeus absolutely doing his job, and Dudu the last man standing.
And of course, Kuma gets the objective with that massive damage. I don't even remember what that item is called. I'm looking it up right now. Bastion Breaker.
That's why you don't remember, because it's got a silly name. It should just be called Weird Metal Pickaxe Item. That's probably what the name should be.
If you're PvPing, you're suddenly PvEing right afterwards really hard.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be inhibited down in the mid lane, and with only Dudu there, oh, I thought HLE might be going for the end, but they decide not to. Just going to back away.
It's that stage of the game where you've got your empowered recalls, you got what you came for. If Doctom survive, if he respawns, like they know the Alistar ult's coming back up and they get wiped there, they might just lose the game. They have a lot of structures, but better safe than sorry. The front line here, again, is buying time for Doctom to hit a Scion.
Yeah,
you know,
Closer and Doctom are both just hitting Scion.
I think the setup is correct, but unfortunately, this is a level 20 Scion who's nearly full build, so Doctom eventually loses his front line and just gets collapsed on and dies. I still think, despite the fact that it looked like maybe Doctom was going to be able to carry this game in 2 fights, I think it might just be over. Big shockwave.
Yeah, Dudu is trying to survive, and Chains of Corruption is going to snag Closer, and he's just popped like a balloon. Piercing arrow does exactly that, and that is a dead Orianna. Now you've got Zeka going in, looking for Doctom. Great spell shield, though, as Zeka will have to go golden to keep himself alive. Can the Sivir get enough worked on? That's the question, as down will go at least the Azir to start this one off, and that is massive damage, as HLE Hail of Arrows finishes him off. And that is going to put an end to DNS here in game number 1. Gumayusi is hungry for that kill onto Pyosik, but he is relegated to the fountain, and he may just even die. Chains of Corruption comes on in, flag and drag for fun, and flashes out of the way, but it's not going to change the outcome of this game, as the Nexus will go down, and HLE go up 1-0.
Statement game from Gumayusi on his signature Varus. Even pulls out the Bastion Breaker for a little bit of fun and promptly sells it right after that team fight. Buys a GA, but he looked really good on this Varus. His skill shots were lining up, and that's the kind of play you want to see from your AD carry, a big turnaround. And with 15 kills at the end of the game, he did a lot of heavy lifting, but I think credit needs to be given to both Kanavi's performance on this Xin Zhao, where he was a lot more measured today, and Zeus on this Scion. He was a brick wall. His positioning was phenomenal, and he just said, okay, I'm going to let my AD carry kill the front line of the enemy team, and which is like 3 people, Alexei and Alistair going through, the Jarvan's getting in there, and I'm going to just 1v1 the other guy, and Guma will get it done. He will kill all of the front line, and Duckdown will never kill me. We only need to mark him with 1 man.
And that is exactly what happened, and it's kind of crazy that this game, after those first 2 Drakes went down, DNS won a couple of fights, and then it was 1 team fight, and HLE, they got a foothold and they never let go. Quadra Infernal Drake, Infernal Soul is just obscene amounts of damage. And like you were saying, the way that they orchestrated team fights with Zeus, always zoning the damage while the rest of the front line had 0 backup, it's the perfect way to play this one out. And what an incredible performance. This is what we wanted to see from HLE. Already, like, this should have happened from day 1. It's taken a little bit of time to ramp up to this, but it's great to see it. But they're going to have to do it again, as we are going to go to a short break. When we get back, game number 2, we'll see whether DNS can fight back.
다들 여기 렉세 못 들어온 가.
머리 누구? 안 죽어.
봐봐. 계속 봐봐.
이거 촉 쪄줄래? 촉 쪄줄래? 머리 볼게.
오리 볼게.
머리 누구? 나왔다.
야, 미드. 야, 내쪽 봐줄래?
났어 그냥. 왔고. 좋아.
맞아, 커버줘.
좋아. 11에 탱고. 11에 필.
나 살아있어.
맞아. 타워.
Are going to be different. This is Fearless, and so a very different draft is what we're going to be looking at here.
No team would ever pick red side, so my theory about this 3 naming convention was going to be perfect. It didn't work out.
Well, we could also have Jar and Man banned away again, which I think would be really cool if that was to happen. And I really like really cool things happening. Akali ban, please.
I think the Akali ban was because Zeka wanted to go for the Azir and ban the Nocturne, so I don't think they'll ban it this time.
Oh, no!
Sorry.
Not Mr.
Mister.
It's we could have
Mr.
Mr.
Letter.
T.
It's Mr.
T.
Letter.
Mr. T could be banned. That would be pretty cool. Oh man, imagine if that happened.
They just banned Taric in that 3rd spot.
Yeah, we need a Taric ban. That's what we absolutely need.
They could ban Talon as well.
Talon could be the ban. What's something that would make...
Teemo.
It could be Mr. N, because that'd be like Mr. No from James Bond, because it could be a Nico ban.
Okay.
Nico ban could happen. Mr. P.
Mr. P still.
Who's Mr. P? Did anyone have a teacher?
It's just Pantheon.
Mr. P?
It's just he's Mr. P. He doesn't like to be called Pantheon.
All right, so Mr. P getting banned away here on the side of HLE.
Pantheon's not his real name, anyways, right? Like.
And they stick with the jar. They stick with the jar on the other side.
Okay. Mbessa is taken away again. Vi stocks are up. That makes a lot of sense as a first pick here.
Yeah.
They will get Nico and Corki or Yunara, whichever they prefer.
But Yunara into Vi? Are we ever feeling good about that?
It is pretty tricky. Feeling a little bit better about it when you get the Wukong.
Yep. And Wukong can do some tricky stuff. We have seen Kanavi use his ultimate on a clone before. So that might be something that they can lean on again.
It could happen. I'm really curious what the game plan is going to be in the bottom lane here. Does Delight want to pull out the Bard, try to match at range in this game, or do they want to go for more engage instead? Because Corki is probably your best bet, but with what is the real question? With whom will he be laning?
Indeed. Could be just more engage here for Delight, but you probably want something with a little bit more power.
I like the Ahri more because I think it's a little bit more safe setup. Has not been very popular as of late, though.
Yep. The Aurora is something that Zeka has just had a phenomenal series on. So we did see him last time out really have a great showing, but this will be a pretty standard combination.
Another Talia Rise game.
Wow.
Oh,
Posey
okay.
just slams the Ahri. Okay. I don't know about that. I've always kind of hated the Ahri into Talia, but we'll see how it goes.
I don't really like it either, especially because the Wukong setup is just not as consistent as Vi, and basically doesn't exist pre-6, so... let's see what else they have in mind, because they have, right now, only Engage in their composition, and the enemy AD carry has an escape button.
He does, but that means if you've got a lot of Engage, then you can catch him after he presses the escape button.
That is true. I think the Nautilus ban makes a ton of sense, even though it's really hard to lane into the Nico, regardless of matchup. The Corki can work really well with it, and it's just insane value with the single target they already have. So that's a really smart ban, even though when you think about the 2v2 alone, you might raise an eyebrow at it. I think for the greater composition, it's very powerful. In terms of AD carries here, do you really want to ban some of those AD carries that are great to blow up single target, like the Yunara, like the Zeri? Probably not. You're probably happy if they lock it in. They opt for it anyways. The Yunara does have a lot of lane power. And let's be real, Duckdom was trying to 1v9 last game, and giving him a champion where he could potentially do that is probably a bad idea.
I mean, he wants to play Aphelios, though, so I don't know, like, maybe banning that one would have been enough.
He might play Aphelios here, but I think playing Aphelios in this comp when you opted for Nico is so tricky. There's no Thresh, there's no Lulu, there's no safety. You're just going to have to hope the Wukong and the Nico ultimates peel enough for you. I think it might be a bridge too far, because Yunara kind of has an escape, right? The Xayah in this situation, I think, would be a very bad choice. I hope they do not do it. Duckers would never do it to me.
Not this time. Well, Mr. Pudge has been banned away here by HLE, which I very much enjoy. I don't want to try and do the other one because it's another just falling down the stairs after saying Jar. All right, Duckdom and Peter, what are we locking away here? Ezreal will be the choice.
Ezreal's pretty safe here and has decent follow-up to the engage that they have in their composition.
Ooh, this is some tech that we had seen prior.
It's really common. It's really strong. There's a lot of different things you can talk about with how this duo operates differently than the Lucian Nami, but instead the Bard, which is safer in lane and also can help set up Talia, is going to be the one that gets chosen here. It can also ruin what DN supers are trying to do, mess up the Nico Wukong setup, and really prevent Silene collapsing. There's so much utility here.
Yeah, the Tempered Fate can be so incredibly game-changing,
not to mention
against this composition.
You already have Weaver's Wall, but you can get the Vi into some pretty creative places as well with the Magical Journey.
Wow, Zaya's thinking about an Aurora top. That would be a choice, and that is what they're going to go for here.
It's blind as well, but it feels pretty difficult to punish this pick.
Yeah, I wonder what the choice is going to be here for Dudu.
Is he just going to play Ornn?
Just plays Akali, and we've got 2 mid lane matchups. That'd be kind of fun. But instead, it's the Dusante that is going to be his response.
I really liked how simple DN Super's last game draft was with the Orianna, you know, the scaling Sivir, the wave control. This draft, for me, I feel, is quite piecemeal in what it's trying to do. And the Cassante is not going to have prio. The Ahri isn't going to have a lot of jungle assist power, whereas Talia Vi has been a combo since Talia release date. And
the dawn of time.
It is one of the strongest, in my mind, I think has been the best in the early game performing mid-jungle duo in LCK Cup thus far, Zeka and Kanavi. And so there's just not a lot of agency in the early game here. Then you have a front line with this Cassante, but it's an Ezreal comp with Wukong and Nico. Whereas on the other side, for Hanwha Esports, you have zoning, you have pick, you have a 2-item spiking AD carry. With the lead you're probably going to generate in lane already, it feels like getting to that position is going to be relatively safe. So it's just Duckdom or bust again. You know, Endless Hunger, Ezreal. Let's see what we can see.
The thing is, right, Ezreal has always struggled at taking down tanks. There are no tanks. HLE's composition is very flimsy. So with champions that have a little bit less damage but a lot of burst, like the Ahri, like the Ezreal, then there's an opportunity for them to make things happen as this game goes on. And they're the ones with the true frontline, right? In the Dusante that they do have available to themselves. And with the engage of the Nico, with the Cyclone to layer on top, if Pioshik gets his stuff together, or his sheet together, as Wadid would say. Obviously, he said sheet earlier on today. It was nothing untoward. Don't you worry about that. Let's get another rift here. Game number 2.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. On to the rift.
I think it's quite contemporary what it said, because we don't really use slates anymore, do we? We're not living in the Flintstones times.
No. No.
We use sheets. So
And
when you want to clear the sheet,
honestly,
you press Control A, and then you delete it, or Command A if you're on a Mac. And
right.
if you print that out, it's a clean sheet.
So I thought that we were talking about like paper, and I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure that's also getting a little bit obsolete these days as everything's digital. But you were talking about like sheets, like an Excel,
Yeah,
like
Excel
a
file.
spreadsheet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. See?
Makes complete sense, Wolf. I'm really glad that you helped me out there. I'm a bit boomer brain, as you know. That's all right. We've got a lot of buttons being exchanged here in this bottom lane.
It was 1F for 2 Ds.
Yeah.
Okay, there's the second F. Wait, no, they're both Ds,
Yeah,
right?
it's just, yeah. Wait,
no, are they both
we've got-
Dlashers?
They're both Dlashers, man.
They're both Dlashers. There are 3
Dr.
Dlashers on
That's-
this team.
That's actually crazy that they're Dlashing together.
For a second, I was like, wait, is red side reversed? Because I saw 3 in a row.
I understand why Kanavi wants to have his flash as accessible as possible, because he does just like going in. I think, you know, having that as close to your normal buttons as possible is the way to make that one happen. But I just would not have expected it out of Dr. and Peter. Kind of crazy.
Well,
there we go.
Early Nico Ezreal feels favorable. And they did end up kind of, unfortunately, layering both of their summoners. Didn't end up mattering too much, but that was probably not ideal. And at the end of the day, they still got Guma's Barrier.
Or at the start of the day, Wolf. This is only our first series.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, nailed.
Well, it is. I mean, it's 6 p.m., so it's kind of the end of the day. Just not
that's
the day of
true.
League
It
of
is.
Legends.
It's the beginning of the evening.
And you and I are both fathers, so we know that like 6 p.m. feels a little different.
Yeah.
6 p.m. used to kind of feel like the middle of the day. Not
Honestly,
anymore.
now like 9 p.m. feels like so incredibly late. I looked out of the window last night at around 9, expecting it to be like completely empty, right? There'd be no one outside because it started snowing, and I'm an Australian. I think that's really, really cool. As we have a bit of a fight here in the mid lane, as Nice Charm is going to connect. Orbit Deception there as well, as Zeka throws a rock to the wayside, and Closer is going to win out on the trade quite considerably. But as I was saying, I looked out the window because I wanted to watch it snowing, and there were like so many people outside. I'm like, what are you doing? It's the middle of the night. And then I realized it was 9 p.m.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah,
Time changes.
indeed.
Pioshik gonna get this scuttle. Gonna have a crazy fight around Dragon this game around, I don't think. Like we had last game that gave
We had a
DNS that lead.
4v4 for first scuttle last time, and now it's just Pioshik by himself.
Kanavi's evolving.
Yep. And he's evolving into gank top lane, perhaps, as Dudu is looking quite susceptible at this point in time. He is going to go back home, though, not actually looking for it, as Pioshik moving on up. We'll be back to farm out his Gromp, as there is vision over here.
It's not going to matter too much because there's no gank opportunity for Kanavi right now.
Yep, but there is now information gained by HLE. Pioshik walking over that ward a couple of times. Let's walk back up here towards his top side. Zeus is spotted.
And Zeus is like, yeah, Wukong trying to gank in Aurora at level 4.
Yeah,
okay.
Not too worried about
With a
it.
Cassante for setup. Yeah.
Oh man, Dudu gets comboed there and doesn't feel too good about it. Null Magic Mantle in hand, as well as some shoes. Wants to get towards those Merc Shreds as quickly as possible by the looks. Unless, you know, it's going to be something else, just wants to get to the Rook as fast as he can, which does make a lot of sense, given the double AP lanes.
Yeah, that is 100% going to be built in this game, you have to imagine.
Yep. I wouldn't even put it past him to go Spirit Visage second as well, which we've seen a lot of.
Yeah. Very strong. I'm most curious about how the Ahri is going to function in this composition.
It is Closer, and he's a pretty good Ahri player.
But its setup is so tricky in this draft.
Oh, Gumayushi actually getting snared here by Peter, who's having a pretty good time on the Nico. This is one of his best picks as of last year, as Magical Journey is taken here by Peter. There's a lot of damage to Delight, who does have to get himself out. Heal now off the table.
Well, if Peter can hit those, especially doubles, repeatedly, then the Ahri setup is right there. All along, it doesn't even need to pop Blossom to set him up.
It's a good point, and it's actually something that I didn't really factor in as we did see this draft, is the fact that Peter is on the Nico. Because he's just really good at this champion. Plate number 1 does go down here as Zeka looking to try and help out.
That could have been
taking some poke, though.
That could have backfired, too, because Pyosik was in the area, even though he doesn't have level 6. And we're trying to lane. It's going okay. Year of Doodoo.
Yeah. Does have level 6 now. Can go all out if he wants to, but getting all out of range of Zeus is problematic, as Kanavi not going to land the Vault Breaker here. As we have the Brad looking for some charms in the river. The light rotating up, so does need to be a bit careful.
I think that the Cassante pick makes a lot of sense in isolation when you consider, like they picked, you know, second pick, right? They wanted to have the counter pick, and they end up with this situation where they can just index heavily into MR, and Cassante is very difficult to kill.
Yes.
He's just naturally tanky with his base resistances into the Corki anyways.
He's still looking for an angle here towards Zeus. Doodoo realizing that the angle is going to be try and go all in as often as possible, but you can see, looking a little worse for wear. Has already gone back and completed his Negatron cloak.
Zeus is so close to being able to kill him, actually, with Between Worlds, but he respects it and backs away.
Yep.
First Dragon goes over to Pyosik, actually, with that bottom side prio. That's pretty significant.
And, okay. A little bit of a snare onto Peter there with the Cosmic Binding. Nicely done by Delight. Stop any more aggression here. As Doctorm down to 50%, so does need to be a little careful. But with a decent advantage at the moment. True Shot Barrage connects onto Delight, takes him down to 50%.
Seems like Ohm in the coaching booth after game 1 was like, do not fight them until you have your ultimates and you have the right setup. Do not hands check Kanavi. I'm asking you to just make sure the bottom lane's okay, kind of be around there, but do not engage unless I come in coach comms and tell you to.
Well, right now you can see they are definitely listening. As just a bit of a back to come through here for Doctorm. See whether he does have the Sheen at the ready. And
you know,
does put that together now.
They could quite literally use the coach comms and coach voice as a leash for Kanavi.
That might be a good way to do it.
They haven't really utilized this strategy yet, but I do think that if you tell him not to do it, he'll probably listen.
Yeah. It's like you get the phone call, and Kanavi's like, oh no, Dad's on the phone again. As Charm is going to hit him, there's the Cyclone as well. Tempered Fate, just to try and buy a bit of space here as the Seismic Shove comes through closer, looking for the angle. Orbit Deception connects onto Kanavi. Pyosik makes his way through the magical journey. Great Charm to connect onto Light, who has to flash to get out of the way of Peter's Tangle Barbs.
So this was the even game state do enemy Raptor camp variant of the copy pasta.
Yeah, a little bit not as optimal. However, you do have to do it to try and create that advantage, as you said. That's what I learned, Wolf, from you earlier on. I'm really glad about that one. As Gumiushi walking towards Doctorm and Peter. I don't know whether he really wants to do that. Really wanted access to the wave.
Is he trying to trick him?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because like now they got the TP coming from Delight. Like I think he successfully may have baited them into an unfavorable position.
Well, we do have Zeka moving down.
It's working!
The Cosmic Binding onto Peter. True Shot Barrage comes in as now Zeka throws out that volley. And Peter not going to get hit by that Seismic Shove. That was a little bit optimistic as Gumiushi taking a lot of damage. Minions doing some work there as well as Doctorm's Arcane shifting forward.
And Closer should be able to get some plate gold in the mid lane as well. Initially, that looked so weird what Guma was doing there, but it looked like there was definitely some intention behind it, and yet still did not work out as well as they would have hoped. If that shove hits Peter, then I think it's a completely different story. Now, a plate will go to the Ahri, but the plate will also go over to Zeus here in the top lane at the same time, unrelated.
Yep. Pyosik moves on over, wants to be able to grab this last grub that Zeus is going to be a little bit annoying about, but with a smite, Pyosik is absolutely fine, able to lock that one down as Little Rocket to annoy Doctorm.
I could have barriered that. That's probably what he's telling himself.
Shouldn't have been shopping. As 400 gold is the approximate lead here for HLE in this early game. Definitely looking better than game number 1, and they won that game. So probably feeling very happy, HLE at this point.
I wonder how it must feel to be Doctorm in this type of scenario, because there's probably more things going on in his mind than like, I'm just laning in a pro game here, since Guma was the MVP who denied his team from winning a world championship just a few months ago.
Yep.
And that same man just shoots a rocket at him and delays his back, and he's like, ugh, this Guma guy is ruining my day.
Well, certainly going to continue doing so here if he lets him, as now Zeus going to get thrown out of his Between Worlds. Looks for some weirding here, but going all out is Dudu, finds the flash, but there is the blast cone. Dudu avoids it though, so he doesn't get further away, and he finds the Q. Max range, that's the Dusante!
Absolute insanity, and the timing of the all out during the Between Worlds almost feels unreal that he's able to actually pull it off.
I'm really surprised he even made that angle. I didn't quite even see.
Yeah, we'll have to watch it again
when the champions got into that position.
Because it's like during the slight animation, I guess, of when the Between Worlds is happening is what it looked like. We'll see the replay, no doubt, but insane mechanical play there from Dudu, and is able to get the max range Q3 to snipe him. That's as far. He's like, I'm a range champion at this one specific moment. Just look at that.
Oh.
As he's trying to go Between Worlds, gets pulled in. Blast Cone helps him survive for now. But
That sidestep was revolt. That was blind.
He's just like, how do you like playing against a ranged top laner?
Yeah, man, that was everything he did there was perfect.
It's actually crazy. Maybe it is the year of Dudu.
I think perhaps it's the year of Dudu and the year of Vikler at the same time. It has to be.
It was the year of Closer last year.
It was. And look, we haven't seen him pop up just yet. He's got his Malignant stun. Maybe there's a chance for him to find an angle. As Dudu with his Rookern done misses everything, but he doesn't have to hit it because he did the cool.
He didn't have kill pressure this time.
Exactly.
You hit it when you have the kill pressure.
Well, he is going to be able to find Zeus here. Look, he just takes no damage. Now that this Rookern is done, he is just able to walk at Zeus over and over again.
And they're going to get Double Dragon again potentially here. Prio is Closers right now with his ultimate up. Very difficult to challenge this Dragon. If you're HLE, I think DNS are just going to get it.
Let's see whether Kanavi can do anything. The answer is no. He's just going to be backing in the Tri-Brush. Decides to cancel it. Let's see whether they can find an angle as Doctom. Oh dear, there it is. Cease and desist can come down, but he swaps targets to the clone. I'm not sure about that one as now Closer comes in, but there's a seismic shove. And Zeker is going to stop that one from happening. Wow, Kanavi. Was that what happened? I don't want to throw him under the bus because it was very confusing, but it's almost like he had an Ezreal right there and decided instead clone.
Yeah, that was very peculiar.
We'll see in the replay.
Yeah,
maybe that's not what happened. I think that's what happened.
I was looking at Delight because I thought he was going to set up a really big turn with his ultimate, and then his ultimate hit nothing as they were retreating, but instead, Kanavi just did not actually end up getting the pick onto Duckdom there. Duckdom did not flash or spell, or not spell shield, but barrier in that moment either. Stayed calm and collected.
I'm confused.
Yeah, let's watch that one again.
I think we'll need to. As right now, DNS have gold advantages across the board, but it's only spelt about an 800 gold lead at this point in time. Not really the end of the world. We're going to have a look at this one more time. Okay.
So Kanavi...
There are a lot of clones for him to press the button on, and he actually did dive on top of the Pop Blossoming Nico.
Yeah, I don't really think there's anything weird that happened there that would have disrupted him.
Yeah. So it was, there are a lot of clones
besides a lot of fake clones,
guys. Yeah, so it gets a little confusing.
I mean, it's hard to click on the lantern when there's a lot of wards on the ground. You know, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Unless I missed something there, I think that may have been player error.
Perhaps. But still, no harm, no foul. No one really going down. But Double Dragon did come on through for DNS, and now it's a Hextech Soul.
I mean, I guess
HLE do the same thing again, by the way. A Quadra Hextech Soul is kind of obscene.
It would be obscene. I guess you could argue maybe he thought that the follow-up wasn't close enough, so he wanted to kind of use it as an escape and try to rejoin his teammates a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
Also just trying to go for the target that's closer to the rest of your teammates to maximize your ability to get a kill.
Exactly.
Something like that. I don't know.
Either way...
We're giving a lot of benefit of the doubt here, and we do like to do that.
It's Double Dragon and DNS are not as ahead as they were in Game 1, but the way this game has gone makes you kind of want to trust the individual play we're seeing, because it has kind of been some individual outplays across the board that really is where we've led to in this game in terms of their position. It hasn't been big team fights or Ezreal or Corki sitting on their item spikes just yet. I mean, this is going to be a bit of a slower start here in this one until those two items do hit.
Well, Closer is going to get discovered here by Kanavi. Does throw out the charm, almost manages to hit Zeka there, as now looks to get out of the way of the seismic shove. And Zeka actually taking a lot of damage. Closer playing that really well.
Yeah, he was like, well, if I'm going to ult, I'm going to take 2 half health bars.
maximize your ability to do work, as Zeka is going to have his back stopped. A little bit frustrating there.
That exchange is just Herald here for DNS, so you know there was a reason behind the collapse there, and when Closer used his ult, Pioshik was like, let's see what we can get. They get the whole Herald out of this for free, basically, and they'll even get a Scuttle.
Oh, free crab on the side? Gorgeous.
Kanavi hates doing his own Raptor camp, but he's going to have to do that one here, sadly.
Thankfully, Pioshik's Raptor camp is also coming up relatively soon, so let's see whether he can take that one down as well. Dash cannon done here for Peter, as Doctorm taking a lot of damage from Guma. Arcane Shift gets him out of the way, but looking a little worse for wear, as item parity between our two AD carries, and in fact sitting on almost exactly the same CS. Zeka will finally complete his quest, last one to do so here. Does upgrade his Boots of Lucidity.
Yeah, the mid quest sometimes just gets really slowed down.
And also doesn't really matter, it's not one of the scaling ones, so we're not feeling too worried about it, as, oh, did he manage to get it? I think he managed to get it.
I could not see, actually.
Some money did pop up, so I'm not going to say that the zoom in was necessary here, as Zeus might be in a little trouble.
He did avoid everything so far. Let's see what he can do next.
Yep, gone between worlds here as Closer throws out the Orb of Deception, and I think Zeus may be dead, as Rock in a Hard Place doesn't really tell the story, as Peter will take a lot of damage, but will be able to make it out safely.
A Rock Hard plays Charms, Pop Blossom, and Wukong.
Yeah.
No Cyclone in this case was not employed, but that is going to be the bottom turret going down. An interesting place to drop it. Oh, well, in fact, it will be a Talia ult going down. Oh,
yeah.
No way.
Oh, he's going to reposition and still get the charge. Oh, no.
Right, this is going to have to be the first WA TV Talia wall segment of the year.
I think so. Let's see whether we will have Woodid there. Hopefully he doesn't talk too much about sheets, because that makes us a little bit nervous. As Doctorm.
He's going to start the next desk off with a clean slate, Atlas.
Yes, and I hope he does hold up a sheet to explain what he was actually talking about prior. And I hope it's a very clean sheet as well, because that's what he said.
Yeah, with nothing on it at all.
Yeah, I've got a lot of clean sheets here as well. We were given those. So Doctorm just going to be clearing out some minions here in this mid lane, as we have the dragon spawning.
It does not look like
DNS have a lot of control.
Does not look like we're dropping dragons after double dragon here in game 2 for DNS, as
they are just cruising this game.
DNS, by the way, actually good team.
Actually good team.
Actually good team.
I think not going to be waiting like an entire year for a win. I don't think that's going to be happening, as of course they've already won here in the LCK Cup. Okay, taking some plates down, as Pioshik just by himself going to be securing this third Drake.
Zeus is going to get a turret for Hextech Soul Point. I guess that's all they can really get here is... we did supposed to do this one.
We're going to get Zeka TV.
Eh?
예?
Eh? Agreed.
아, 모션 먹어야 되는데.
Yeah.
Well, he wanted to stop it.
Yeah.
He did not. He was unsuccessful. I thought that was a very great usage of player voice.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's precisely what we need this feature for. As Pioshik thinking about trying to find an angle here, as they do manage to successfully steal away the enemy blue buff, and out goes HLE.
I think League of Legends needs a little bit more stuff like Herald in it.
Yeah.
You know, that can create comedy on the Rift. Nice try, Zeus.
Yeah, very close. Down to 13 health there. Pioshik is able to lock down his Grump. Very, very important. As Peter clearing out vision where he can. And we are ticking closer and closer to Baron time. But I don't think anyone's really going to be starting that one off anytime soon. Not a lot of like Baron damage. You know, we don't have like the crit 80 carries that want to be doing like massive amounts of consistent damage here.
Imagine if
Ezreal.
Otacon existed in this game.
No, I don't want
how easily this lead for DNS could just be.
Oh yeah, it could evaporate in a second.
We would probably because at that time we would know that Otacon could exist. We probably wouldn't even speak as if DNS was in the lead with 2.5k gold in 3 dragons.
I feel like now that Otacon is gone, every single professional League of Legends team just got 50% better.
Yeah, they're just way smarter now.
Yeah, everyone's so much smarter now.
It's
very,
crazy.
very cool. It's very, very cool. It's amazing that a patch can do that.
Like, you remember, like, when you think about where we are in LCK Cup right now in terms of team parity, it's crazy how close everyone really is. Like, Hanwha Life Esports lost to Nongshim, right? But DRX took a game off T1, lost to this team, who now might also beat Hanwha. Like, it's, like, we have a lot of good teams in this tournament thus far. The Rise group's going to be real interesting.
Oh, yeah. We don't even know who's going to be in the
I know.
Rise
I mean, the race to escape Rise will actually be such an exciting one this year, I think.
Do you know what the best thing is? Maybe Legend Group is just going to be another Rise Group, you know? Maybe that's what it's going to be. Maybe our teams have all just, like, accepted that Rise Group is the way.
It's just Rise and Risen. We'll change the name.
Oh, there we go. All right. Well, Gumiushi did manage to soak the majority of the Mystic shots in lane, and so is struggling here a little bit. There's a cease and desist. They just blow up Doctor. Goodbye. That's what happens if you hit all of the Mystic shots onto Gumiushi. You just die. Kanavi just says goodbye to you.
I mean, if you put something in front of Kanavi's face, you dangle a carrot.
Yeah.
He will bite.
He will bite, yes. And you, if you're scratching your head as to why, then the joke's on you. As double ulti going to connect here from Delight between worlds, and down goes the Nico. Zeka just bouncing around his circle, and Dudu will survive, but he is looking a little worse for wear, and HLE just coming alive here in this mid game.
Yeah, it's just one overstep from the Ezreal, who has Flash and E. Does not matter. They're going to try to... Okay.
Yeah, Closer just pressing that R button, seeing what he can get done here, but that is a clone that's going to get thrown around. Closer still looking for it. True Shot Barrage from base. As Dr. Arm just announces that he is back alive once again.
They really wanted to defend that turret, which is very important for this upcoming Dragon fight. And with the Ahri ultimate, use it this timing, should still be able to use it for this upcoming fight. But this is the real story here, is Dr. Arm is like clearing a control ward and then queuing a Vi. I really can't justify this one in any way.
Sometimes you just want to, like, all red dots are red dots, Wolf. And that ward was also a red dot.
It's been 80 years, by the way. Like, please fix that quirky spectator. I'm just going to mention it every time it happens now.
Yeah, I remember my grandmother talking about it when I was born.
I actually think that's what triggered the stock market collapse right before the Great Depression was...
oh, really?
A bunch of people just lost their minds to the sound of Gatling gun forever, and they just suddenly were like, we've got to sell everything.
It's so funny because you talk about that based on the Great Depression. I also saw it in The Big Short. That was the main thing about it. Yeah. They were like, the big thing was like, the big conspiracy was that actually it was all based on a Corky Gatling gun bug.
Like, if they don't fix it, it could actually be what triggers World War III.
It could be.
Or the end of the Earth. So I think it's probably, it may be the most infuriating thing that exists on this planet. It may actually be the biggest plague in the esports industry.
I also think that it might have been why the dinosaurs went extinct.
Yeah, that's very likely.
Yeah, crocodiles survive because they have bad hearing. That's why. All right, HLE setting up to try and deny this Hextech Soul. Great charm connects onto Kanavi. He does manage to get Mikhail's, but into the backline goes Peter. Finds 3 with the Pop Blossom, but the massive damage from this Aurora comes on through. Pyoshik looking to try and find an angle, though. It's a magical journey. Gets Delight to safety. And Zeus now finds himself alone. Dudu getting thrown around like a ragdoll, but he is a very healthy ragdoll who goes all out onto Zeka looking for the angles here. Does get flung back, though, and will be taken out as Closer doesn't quite manage to find it. And the flash forward from Gumiushi. He sees his targets vulnerable, and he takes him down. As DNS, they do have a couple of members left alive, and it looks like we will have another dragon fight.
Yeah, it does look that way. No Kanavi for 8 seconds, and Pyoshik having Smite and being Wukong means that there's just no way to try to start this one up. This fight is super broken up. Dudu comes in here a little bit late, but still ultimately with this charm, they're able to get the push onto Kanavi. Pop Blossom here ends up being insane value, but they're not able to hit the bio target Guma. The shove is great. Guma just sits back and does massive damage. And then Zeus here, a little bit optimistic, but it's able to help Guma again continue to chip away at this health bar. It's a really long replay. We probably got to jump into Dragon now.
Yeah, I have a feeling because we do have DNS coming back up, so... Oh, it's the steal! That's going to be Hextech Soul! As Pyoshik finally shows up here at the perfect time! Takes out Kanavi as well! And DNS, I mean, they fell off the horse, but you know what you have to do, Wolf? You just jump back in that saddle and you start riding away. And that's precisely what they did.
We didn't get to the critical part of that replay because we had to jump out, but we also kind of missed the beginning of the setup there on the Dragon. But ultimately, Pyoshik gets the steal, and that is all you need. Now we're starting Baron. Kanavi's dead.
Oh, God. Okay. DNS really looking to try and
Ezreal
make
is
use of this.
pretty good with Hextech Soul.
Peter does find a Pop Blossom on Zeus. It's not the Hextech gate he wanted to take as he tries to go between the worlds, but unfortunately, DNS is on every side of the world.
Yeah, and unfortunately, even though they stopped the Baron, I don't know if it's really a positive net result here for the side of Honda Life Esports, as they can clear this wave and at least stop this turret from going down, but it's got Crystalline Overgrowth. One wave getting anywhere near it means it is going to fall. So technically, Zeus' sacrifice is not in vain, but let's go back to this fight here. It's just a 50-50 flip. There's no real secure Delight. He's not in position to really offer anything back in this fight. Kanavi, because the rest of the team just says, well, we lost it, we're not going to fight for this one, he just ends up being left to die. Zeus takes this Hextech gate to try to actually get a flank angle onto Duckdom. I think it's insanely good that Peter realizes instantly that he needs to Pop Blossom him and then turn the rest of the team back to focus him down. Honda Life Esports cannot follow the play. It was a really cool idea from Zeus there. On second look, it actually could have maybe even saved that fight for them, but the reaction from Peter is instant.
Yeah, Peter just sort of reading the play very, very well. 2,000 gold, the lead here for DNS. The problem is, and this is what I wanted to talk about just prior, it's Ezreal with Hextech.
Yeah, he's like the Hextech guy.
Yeah, it's disgusting. The kind of things that you can do. Now has 3 items completed, and yeah, Duckdom is going to be scary.
He went Shojin's instead of the Endless Hunger third item, which we have seen really popular, but Shojin's is stronger, and when you hit it on 3, Endless Hunger gets stronger the more AD you put together. And you know, he just wants to, I think, hold on to his lead in this game that he has. I mean, not him over Gumayushi, but the lead that his team has. Yeah. The current game state and the objective control they've had, which has been phenomenal.
And Guru is very strong in this game right now, right? He does have 3 items. Lord Dom's at number 3. Will still be able to cut through Dudu here, most likely. The problem is, DNS have Hextech Soul, and it's just kind of silly. 3 minutes on the Elder, by the way, guys, and it's only 27 minutes into the game.
That's what happens when you get a 4 Drake stack. The crazy thing is that because of the double AP, it's really important for Guma to be fed, because the Rookern is there, right, for Dudu. You know, even the Verdant Barrier is high value here for Closer. Guma is going to really have to do a lot of damage. He is going to have to be very consistent with his output in this one. He does not have Flash. He only has Valkyrie to rely on, and the siege is real. Whoa. Look at the Hextech at work.
Oh, dear. Yep. Duckdom is going to continue to do stuff like that as he zaps the minion wave over and over again. And just a little bit more of a minion wave, and they will be able to take down this inner turret as well in the mid lane. Things getting very dark on Summoner's Rift for HLE. And DNS have just
TP flank.
Sidestep there as Duckdom might be able to dive on over as Zeus gets on in. Does do a fair bit of damage there, takes 50% of the health bar of the Ezreal as Kanavi moves over. Pop Blossom to hold onto him. True Shot Barrage to do a fair bit of damage, but Peter, now without an ultimate, teleport does come in from the Ahri though, as Closer looking for a flank angle. Dudu is a little worse for wear though, and this is an awkward fight as Zeus dives around the battlefield. Zeker in trouble though as Pyoshik gets the Cyclone onto Gumayushi, who's down to 50%. Down goes Zeus as he takes matters into his own hands. And unfortunately, DNS have Hextech Soul, and it's just really hard to be a tricky Aurora in this game.
Yeah, in the scrappy fight, when you have the Ahri flank as well from Closer, it's really tough to be in Honda Life Esports' position into Hextech Soul. This is a very, very low health Ahri, and they are going to come over for a contest. Kanavi does have Flash. He's also Vi, but I think the timing is a little bit tricky.
Yeah, Dudu is at full health. He is so incredibly scary, but HLE, they could possibly get this one done as he steals it away! He might be denied an exit from the pit, but they get denied the Baron as well. Beautifully done here for HLE to try and hold on to their position in this game.
Baron worth a little bit less, but the denial here is massive. We go back to this fight here. It is very broken up. Peter zones Kanavi here. It's not the greatest start to the fight because now they don't have Pop Blossom for the follow-up. Zeus wants to go in, but Dudu is just so tanky. And then this flank from Closer really seals the deal with the Wukong engage onto Zeka. And with Hextech slows, how do you turn this fight as HLE? You kind of just lose if you try to retreat slowly and kite back. You lose if you try to go in. And unfortunately, Zeus, who was flanking, is the one who dies. This timing on the steal is really, really tight here, and also the control vision in the pit is so incredible.
That tight. Pyoshik just needed to press Smite. It was like sitting at 1300 for forever.
I forgot about the fact that the smite is upgraded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Maybe
that
it was
one.
a little bit less tight.
Yeah. But it was like, that was in slow-mo as well, so maybe it looked a little bit more painful for us.
It's still an impressive steal, and
Yeah.
Kanavi, who hasn't had his greatest game of the season here, is at least redeemed significantly from it.
And also, kind of ironically, Pioshik's lead was 1400. All right, Zeus is dead, ladies and gentlemen.
He is
Closer just
0-6.
finds him.
He's 0-6 in this game. He's trying to be a playmaker, but it is just not working out, this blind Aurora pick. And that might cost them Elder in the game.
Yeah, well, it's serious time, Wolf, and he's playing. That's the unfortunate part. That's all right. I know how this one goes. DNS, they have a man advantage, but they may not necessarily have a smite advantage. So let's just see whether Kanavi can do it again.
I mean, he's on the edge. He's got vision in the pit. Maybe they should clear that this time.
Yeah, they're going to have to go for the turn. There's the flash charm onto Zeus. He does get Mikhail's, but it does not quite work as Kanavi decides he wants to go in, desperately trying to save the play, and it does not work. Peter keeps himself alive. Gumayushi takes the magical journey, has to flash, as there is the Tempered Fate to try and buy some space, but the Elder is picked up. True Shot Barrage, and the Dragon descends from the skies to get some revenge here for Dr. Arm.
Bit of
I think
revenge.
that is all she wrote, Wolf.
Bit of revenge there for Duckers, as you said. Took the words right out of my mouth. Feeling pretty good about that one. He'll interrupt his back in this case.
Oh.
As Zeus does respawn here, but is only desperately going to try to clear the wave to buy time.
Well, you'll see whether it won't work. The Dragon's angry, and Pioshik is going to
Well, he clears the
stick it
wave.
on to the Aurora. He did in fact do that.
He gives them a second lease on life here, although I don't know how big the lease really is.
By the way,
bad analogy.
As far as negative Rebel Baron power plays are concerned, is 2,500 the biggest?
Probably of the season so far. I've seen worse, though.
It's pretty impressive. Okay, let's have a look at this fight one more
just
time.
a really great engage from Closer onto Zeka here, taking him out of the fight right away. And then they have the stronger front line with Dudu. And then this Tempered Fate buys some time, but the snipe is still real.
Oh, the Cosmic Binding from Delight was fantastic, but it didn't really matter. Zeus loves Hex Gate.
So he is able to, despite being 0-6
Yeah,
in
he
this
actually,
game,
he only wanted
saved
to
the game.
kill the minions.
Yeah,
he only wanted to kill the
He
minions.
just wanted to clear the wave. He is successful. So that ends up stopping the Nexus from falling. They still have Elder, and they are killing the other things on the map.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to change the outcome of the game, but it did stop the game from ending right then.
It was correct. It just didn't really matter necessarily.
Yeah. Kind of cute. Let's see whether they have another team fight in them. As Between Worlds goes Zeus once again. Does do a little bit of chip damage as Dr. Arm taking a fair bit, as well as Gumayushi getting slowed down. Man, Hextech Soul is stupid. It really is frustrating.
It's really crazy when you have that and the Elder.
Yeah, they have kind of all of the things. Baron's going to be up in 2 minutes' time. They've got 30 seconds left of Elder. And Dr. Arm Arcane shifts over the Weaver's Wall. And they were able to break open the base here.
Slow and steady. I mean, he has Soreldas on top of all of this. Like, this game should not be losable here for DNS.
Oh, you say that. But I was watching yesterday, okay? And where was this bottom lane from?
Berserker was also like, you know,
Oh, no.
I once sat in that seat, Duckers.
Yeah, like this is DNS with an entire KT bottom lane, Wolf. Like, this is, never say that it's not throwable.
I kind of feel like this one shouldn't be throwable. KT,
I mean, yeah, of course it shouldn't
they
be
had
throwable.
Akali, okay. They didn't have a lot of siege. They didn't have great engage to get into the base and end the game. DNS, in this case, only get one inhibitor, which is pretty insane. Like, Zeus is clearing the minion wave. We were like, oh, it might not necessarily matter. If they win this game, it will have been incredibly important.
Yeah.
Because they would have died 100% if he doesn't clear there.
He's
And
one of
now
the most
they're-
useful 0-7 Auroras
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
I mean, now they might randomly win the game if there's a throw. It's possible. Like, there's only one inhibitor down. The inner in bottom lane is still up with full plates because this comp is a Cassante Ari comp, so not really split pushing a whole lot. But
Yeah, the side laning is not necessarily the most dangerous. Well, it looks like HLE are actually able to get some Baron vision here as well. Might even be able to take this crab as a teleport in from the Cassante, but Kanavi successfully takes that crab away.
Zeka does not have TP, only has Weaver's Wall, so if they were able to get the Weaver's Wall out of him, it would have been a huge win
Oh, and Closer doesn't quite finish off the death cap. I think that could have been a huge thing.
The timing of that play, unfortunately, doesn't really help DNS that much because the Baron wasn't actually up. So HLE are just kind of like, all right, well, you're obviously not doing Baron, so we can actually regroup and it won't matter. Zeka is clearing these top minion waves as quickly as he can so they can have a fair fight here. I think DNS are going to have to be decisive. They have all the tools to win this game.
And honestly, if they just play it out, you know, calm and collected, they should be able to take this to a game number 3. We'll just have to see. HLE, they have some tricks up their sleeves. I mean, that's 4 items on Gumayusi. Like, he's very scary.
If they end up getting like a huge Tempered Fate into massive shove, you know, there is a miracle win con or a Kanavi steal again.
Oh God, don't let it happen, DNS. Do not let him into that pit. As Vaultbreaker getting charged, Zeka taking a fair bit of damage here from the poke out of DNS. As Pyosik over the wall, Dudu just tanking up the Baron.
Pyosik's positioning here really strong.
Oh, Pop Blossom finds Gumayusi and Zeus as well. Guma goes into the Tempered Fate. Delight trying to keep him safe, but Dudu will jump on top of him. Goes all out to take him down. Closer is dead as well, though, as Pyosik gets into that back line. And Delight looking a little worse for wear, but HLE, they are backing away. They have lost Guma, but they've traded 1 for 1. And if you're losing by this much, 1 for 1 ain't bad.
Yeah, Pyosik actually doesn't end up getting that much value because the fight happens away from his flank. And he has Hextech Soul on the Wukong, and the Cyclone should be insane, but he actually only uses after the retreat is really in full effect. For HLE, you know, he's being zoned by Delight here, so when the Pop Blossom hits, the Wukong still isn't here. Closer's follow-up is immense. It is so quick, but the Tempered Fate actually buys a lot of space here for them to retreat out. Even though Guma dies, so much damage has been done to Duckdom that DNS have to play this really slow. The Cyclone value is relatively low. They end up only trading 1 for 1. Like you said, it's not really a 1 exchange for them. And a few more fights like this, and Hanwha Esports will have that inhibitor up. I mean, it's up in 80 seconds. This game is still somehow, some way playable.
Well, a second Elder Dragon, Wolf. Let's see whether that is going to be enough to change the tables, as Kanavi could be in trouble. Another Cyclone from Pyosik. True Shot Barrage, a lot of damage.
And the slow.
And Kanavi just barely survives. As it's a hot cup of cocoa delivered from Delight to help him out there. But now he has to go back.
Yeah, I mean, he's not
so
dead.
That should be free Elder.
He's not dead, but he's effectively dead because he cannot.
He's not dead, but he's dead?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Well, Tempered Fate is going to make the Elder golden.
Buy time, buy time. Hexgate in, Kanavi, come on.
Oh, dear. So that is second Elder Dragon for DNS. How many Elders does it take for DNS to kill a Nexus? Is it 2?
Don't ask bro. They know the answer.
Oh, dear.
That'd be a spoiler.
It's not enough. There weren't enough Elders in that game. There were not enough. This time there's at least 2, and let's see whether it's going to be when paired with the Baron. Like, this is Exodia. They're putting Exodia together right now.
It's Exodia with Hextech Soul and the 4 Drake to 0. It could only be more Exodia if they had 3 grubs to end these turrets' lives.
Oh, yeah, true. Can't be true. No, but Exodia is 3, isn't it? Oh, wait, isn't Exodia 5? I didn't play enough Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not going to lie to you.
It is 5.
Yeah, we need
left.
I need
foot,
Kangas.
left
Where's Kangas?
arm,
He's
right
the
foot, right
Yu-Gi-Oh!
arm.
guy.
Yeah. And then the Forbidden One himself.
Yeah.
All right, well.
Oh, Duckdom? I don't know about that. Duckdom.
He doesn't get shoved, and he has
He has a GA. But like, that was still very
Like I said, that was unlosable. Unlosable.
Oh, shit, stop it, Wolf.
Unlosable situation.
I've seen the game in this position. Okay, Pop Blossom from Peter finds absolutely nothing as Gumayusi, he actually walked into the snare part of it and will be backing away. The Dragon almost takes him down as he gets back towards the fountain. Oh, Closer! He will just get 1-2 punch, but Kanavi's going to get answered. Zeus goes down as well. First Nexus turret to fall. Duckdom and Dudu now standing back, but that could have gone way, way worse.
I mean, they have the cannon minion here. The top wave is super far away.
I mean, DNS have Exodia, Wolf. They have, that should be game over.
Yeah, I think it will be because Dudu shows back up.
That's a lot of health bar. My goodness, he has so much health bars. Okay, Peter almost dead. As Gumayusi sitting at full health here. Duckdom looks for the angle, has to flash to get out of the way. The seismic shove. Dudu is basically immortal in this game. Just hit the Nexus. Duckdom, just hit the Nexus. As the Dragon comes down from the sky, Dudu almost dies to the fountain, but DNS bring us to 3 games.
They do bring us to 3. Man, Duckdom was like, I am a Hextech Soul Elder buffed, nearly full build on previous patches.
Yes, there is enthusiastic DNS guy.
Why is the most important fight of the game happening when the minions are spawning in front of me while I'm trying to hit my Qs? This is really annoying. As ultimately DNS won the game a while ago, but it took a little while for it to normally end.
That looked way too playable for HLE at the end there. I got very, very frightened that we were going to have another very depressing end to a game.
Kanavi on Baron, insane. Kanavi on Elder, dying before Elder is not ideal.
Yeah, that was
dichotomy of Kanavi in this one.
Yeah, he was like, there was a Raptor camp that was up, Wolf. That must have been what it was.
Zayas did an insane amount of damage.
He was
in a very suicidal way.
This was one of the scariest, like, 0-7 Auroras that I've ever seen. However, it was not enough. Doctom doing massive amounts of work in this game. But honestly, it was a little bit of funny business, a little bit of silly stuff. And DNS, they took control of the game from basically the very beginning, and this time, they never let go. So I want to say, hats off to the coaching staff. They told DNS, you know what, guys? Play it slow, cool, calm, and collected, and you can win. And guess what? That's precisely what they did. And they brought us to 3 games, which is exactly what we wanted here today. We are going to go to a short break. When we get back, ladies and gentlemen, we did with a very clean sheet, ready to take you through exactly what went wrong for HLE. Then we'll have game number 3. See you soon.
탈리아 노플.
그냥 끝낼만해.
나
피 채울게, 피 채울게.
나 중요도 있어. 나한테 그거 하지 마.
내 앞에 서줄게, 기다려.
앞비전만 안 박으면 될 것 같아. 야 더블 받았다 코르키.
타워 쳐볼래? 코르키부터 뿌려.
바이키 박으면 볼게. 바이키 박으면 봐줄게.
이러면 타워 치면서 볼게.
위에 박으면 위에 기대면서 해봐. 야 타워 칠래?
야, 각 보면서 해야 돼. 각 보면서 해야 돼.
다 보면서 해봐 이거. 더블 빠졌어 코르키 더블 빠졌어.
쳐봐.
탈리아 노플이야 탈리아 노플. 끝내. 어우 야 빡대 나 나이스.
All right, they'll have it.
And I mean, the draft here gets a little bit tricky because a lot of the safe picks are gone in terms of AD carry. The Ezreal, the Corki, the Ahri pick kind of throws us for a bit of a loop. I think the Ryze stocks are way up.
Oh yeah,
we've seen Ryze into Taliyah so many times, but the Taliyah was picked and they just opted for the Ahri answer, which worked out. Like, Closer made some really big plays, but that means Ryze is still available. I think that will be where Hanwha Life Esports are looking here in this draft, especially with this Yunara ban, which would have been the other pick I thought might be first pickable. I know Guma has shied away from it in the past, but I think we've seen a bit of an evolution.
Yeah.
And on the side of DNS, they're just going to keep banning those OP jungle picks.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see the Ambessa ban. I thought that would be the one that would be dropped in favor of the Ryze, because I think you still have to ban Rumble. That is just guaranteed. But with Ryze kind of looming, it is a little bit of a scary situation.
If Hanwha ban Ryze here, then something interesting is going to happen. Okay.
No, it's Mup. We got Mup coming through. As Pantheon is going to be taken away. Ja once again.
So Zeka on Ryze, not his best champion, but it is a pick that is incredibly powerful right now. Oh, just first pick of Aphelios Lulu.
I was thinking that one could be the way to play it. It is Doctom. There is no Vi to worry about.
You probably have to get the Lulu right here,
I would agree.
or they will take it away and try to outlane you.
Just have to see what the answer is going to be from Gumayusi. We did see Taeun on the Caitlyn yesterday. That was something that was able to lane quite effectively as the Cassiopeia answer. You don't need to pick that here,
No, you really don't. If Delight takes a Lulu away, I mean, he'll obviously have to have a strong pairing with it to justify it.
Oh, okay.
Guma has been a bit of a Ziggs enjoyer as of late.
He has sort of, he jumped on the Ziggs bandwagon. He probably heard that Orcs was here and was like, how do I make Orcs a Gumayusi fan? Well, this is one way to do it, as he will lock that one in. Could be just Ziggs Leona that we've seen many times.
The risky thing about picking Ziggs, though, is if you don't play well, you will become, you'll make Ox an anti.
Oh, that's true. That's dangerous.
Good old support LeBlanc for some extra lane pressure.
That would
try to pick Lulu into this.
Well, we'll see whether they do actually.
It actually could kind of work, to be totally honest.
That's too many mages, Wolf. They'd only be picking mages, as Nautilus is what's going to be locked in.
The draft got significantly less magical.
Yeah, it really did. But that's okay. It's still quite magical.
Well, now that it's the Nautilus, I suppose you still just can go for the Lulu here, and then they'll have to ban a lot of different jungle bruisers to make the Lulu value a little bit less. Or you can just go Rel instead.
That's not what I was expecting.
Peter right now is very much in the mindset of, I will engage on them.
Yes. And so playing Lulu is not going to allow him to do that. So an interesting thought, because now the Aphelios is going to have nowhere near the same amount of peel, and there is already a Nautilus there, right? So the depth charge will always go off. So
you can satchel after that. You can obviously drop your ultimate down as Guma on top of the Aphelios for free. It's kind of hard to avoid that in general. Okay, so tanking again in the top side. Dudu's like, I'm going to make a front line for this Aphelios since we don't have a Thresh or a Lulu.
Yep, Dudu really wants to play Renekton. I think that is what I'm seeing here is Lee Sin going to be taken away from Pyosik. This is certainly one of his better champions.
That was the pick I had in my mind, actually, for how this comp might work out here for DN Supers.
Kiana. I think if your opponent picks Kiana in the LCK, though, isn't that a good thing? Oh, wait, it's Kanavi. Never mind. He is an LPL jungler. We have to remember that.
I think it might hint as to what they want to do with this comp. And it is very strong with the already strong setup they have with this Nautilus. Not a lot of easy engage champions left in the jungle pool. I'm kind of wondering if we end up seeing, like, Renekton here. I don't think we're going to see Nidalee, but some sort of other unique pick here coming out from Pyosik. Like, even Sejuani maybe could work here.
Man, think about, like, the double horse.
I mean, Hecarim actually kind of good.
Oh,
now,
my God.
This really will need a front line of some kind. I don't think you can play the Kindred or the Graves without Dudu being on.
He wants to shoot. The man wants to shoot.
Hecarim!
It's Hecarim! The double horse! Okay, that's kind of fun. I don't know if it's good, but it certainly seems to be fun.
We can talk about it because it's been seeing some niche play in solo queue with the Endless Hunger, and it is seeming to be quite potent at the moment. And it is going to force a response here from Hanwha Life Esports, looking for the Trundle. Trundle normally is really happy about taking out a tank, which I think is what Dudu is likely going to be playing in this draft, but also can really disrupt Hecarim's kit by just putting a pillar in front of him to make it difficult for him to actually close the gap.
Can be quite annoying.
Let's see what Zeus has in mind here, because
it has to be blind.
It has to be. It didn't work out for him with the Aurora pick last time around.
And yeah, well, blind Aurora sounded dangerous to me. Let's see what he is going to be locking in here.
Just blind Vayne.
Oh, God.
Don't do it, please.
It'll just be
That's the safest aggressive blind top pick, and it's easy setup or follow-up for the Nautilus engage. Pillar makes it a lot easier. Makes
Pikachu,
a lot of sense.
I choose you. What do you reckon?
I still think he wants a tank, but with the Trundle here, it's really awkward. They don't have a front line in this draft really at all. The Rel doesn't count, especially if she goes Unsealed Spellbook, which I think probably is illegal in this draft. Aatrox, that's a...
He could have been playing new Aatrox, and he decided he just wants to play the old one.
A pseudo front line here. Very skill-based matchup on the top side. Can be quite volatile. Jungle attention might have to be paid up there. And if Guma takes teleport, which he definitely should, you know, it's going to be hard to punish there on the bottom side. So I think we'll see a lot of jungle attention top and mid, maybe even pathing up to the top side of the map, which is quite unusual. You know, we're seeing a lot of jungle attention, obviously, on the bottom side of the map right now with the AD carry quest being as strong as it is. Zeka on Ryze, I don't trust it necessarily. Like, I don't think he has... When you think about our big mid laners that have been in the LCK over the last 5 years, he's on that list, right? But Ryze is iconic for so many of our mid laners in the LCK, and I don't think we could say that about Zeka. He's kind of the odd man out in that regard. But he needs to be able to do consistent damage in this draft because their Ziggs does not have necessarily that same sort of damage output. The Aphelios, later on in the game, especially with Duckdom's, I mean, it's his best champion in his career. When you think about all the way back to when he first joined the LCK, the Dynamics days, he needs to pop off. But I think he can. He's going to be such a consistent win con here in this game.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one's going to go. It's eclectic drafts on both sides. Game 3s are really fun for that reason. Let's get onto the Rift here for game number 3. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what happens for game number 3. Pyosik looking pretty cool with that particular skin. Has no change-ups as far as what we're expecting out of the Keystones. Phase Rush, pretty common. But when that Endless Hunger does come in, that's when we're going to see a little bit of deviation from the Hecarims that we've seen in the past. A little bit of fun there. As Closer doing a bit of work up against Zeka. Obviously, this Cassiopeia into Ryze has been like the classic counter pick. But these Noxious Blasts landing in lane, kind of what you need to do to make sure that that one does happen.
This matchup here can be
We've
so
seen this one
volatile.
before, I think, Wolf.
Yeah, we certainly have. Obviously, the lifesteal and healing output of both of these champions makes it, if you're not a master of this matchup, difficult to judge when it is correct to trade and when it is correct to try to back away. The Renekton has the opportunity to look for really nice trading patterns into the Aatrox, but often just wants to cue the wave to heal. I think this lane feels very nice to play as Guma. The initial levels here. I don't think Zayas took a turret shot there. I'm not 100% sure, actually.
Seems a little worse for wear. Otherwise, should be fine. Stockdom, very well known for his Aphelios play. Kumyushi, though, himself, a little bit of an Aphelios aficionado and has played it already so far this season. Once again, him and Carrier did make the Aphelios Thresh pretty famous here in the LCK. Stockdom has always been pretty good. That gun control, always something that he has been praised for. See whether that is going to continue here, as he has had some more difficult Aphelios games more recently. We do know that he has it in him to really be a hard carry on this champion as Delight. Looking for a bit of an angle here very early on. This is some Andal stuff that he's up to here.
Yeah, this is a very aggressive roam here, but it does not look like it's necessarily going to come to pass.
There's the flash, immediate flash away. As Max Range Hook is going to connect. They're looking for Closer, who will survive. Delight didn't actually use the flash to make that one happen, though.
But Zeka
will also...
Yeah, both summoners on that.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And a teleport will get Closer back here, so he's not going to be punished that much.
Yeah, it'll take him a while to get back, but he will still lose a few of these minions. Or we'll still get most of the minions, is really what I'm saying. We'll lose some, but won't lose all, as you were basically saying. And Kanavi is going to try to level 4 Trundle gank and Aatrox with Flash. Okay, it looks like he was going to. That would be a very Kanavi thing to do, as Zayas is kind of trying to bait Dudu a little bit here, but I do not think this is going to, is actually going to complete the gank.
Yep. Leave. And meanwhile, here towards the bottom side of the map, as Delight had vacated, obviously Peter and Dr. Arm are going to be feeling a little bit better. As Dudu, let's see how this combo is going to go.
Pyosik has
the third one. As we'll land the Infernal Chains. Okay, it is Grasp for Dudu and
so
Conqueror for Zayas, so if he had have kept fighting there, it could have been a little bleak.
Especially with Zayas getting more of that Fury, I think it's the right call to step away once that Conqueror sound effect is heard. As Closer knows that this Rise has no ghost.
Oh god, yeah. Closer just looking for it. Finds the Twin Fang, and that is just a solo first blood for Closer.
I didn't need a roaming support to get this one.
What is it? 2025, Wolf?
Yeah, this is interesting. That was just a lot of damage coming out. Really good trading pattern there for Closer, knowing Zeka didn't have summoners.
That is a big lead that he's put together now as well. 400 gold.
And I mean, this is comfort, like across the board. Closer's been a pretty good Cassiopeia player, right? It's Dudu on Aatrox, you're looking at Duckdom on Aphelios here, and they're starting this early game off really nicely.
Check it out one more time.
Just as like, if you're going to try to be aggressive here, let's play that game, sure.
Yeah, he just walked at him and did Twin Fangs.
Yeah, he was like, all right, when I press W, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, and he did that. He's now got 2 red rocks, but I believe he had that before he'd even got that solo kill, so a lot to be purchased as he makes his way back in. Teleports for our top laners, making it back to lane.
Has his ultimate, and it's a combat ultimate, as that's a miss.
Yeah, well, Infernal Chains are broken here by Zeus, as the 3rd Q is going to connect, but World Ender not quite available just yet here for Dudu. We'll have that one very, very soon, as it's 1 minion away.
Like, Closer can just keep trading with Zeka right now.
This is the problem. It doesn't get easy.
Yeah, and like, because he has an ult and Zeka does not, and I'm not talking about level 6, like, when Zeka has level 6, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He can't really have any prio ever, and that's going to be Dragon. Started up at least.
Well, Zeus having to deal with Dudu, who's having a bit of fun on his Aatrox. Actually, some of the best Dudu moments that we've had. Obviously, everyone knows the Dusante that we did just see, but his Aatrox as well has been something that he's really found great success on. I remember him on a red buff killing 3 people.
Well, it's crazy,
really
too,
one of the scariest things.
that Kingen and Zeus obviously have a lot more fame on this champion, but it's still fun to watch the matchup into Zeus, which we keep kind of zooming in on it. As you mentioned, it's volatile. I think the observers agree.
Well, Kanavi and Zeka both up here towards his top side, but Pyoshik is going to join, and he just says, please leave, everyone, and they won't. They'll just kill him instead. Kanavi almost dead, though, as Dudu looking for some knockups. Closer here just a little too late, and HLE will be able to strike back.
It's a big win here for Life Esports. Get this Renekton ahead, take the Aatrox off the map. He will have to back eventually.
One thing to be said, though, is Pyoshik did what he wanted to do. Dudu didn't die.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, well, there's a flash crash down here from Peter as Doctom has red-white guns, but he's hitting the wave and not quite doing damage here to HLE. As the flash out from Gumayushi as he finally decides that he wants to kill them. Let's see where the Shattering Strike is going to come on through as Chakrams have really built up here for this Aphelios. He's scary, but HLE use both of their flashes and get themselves out.
Yeah, Doctom has ult, so this is really scary. I don't think they want to extend this play any further, HLE, that is. And in fact, Dudu was able to, because he didn't really take that much damage there, stay and finish clearing the wave. I thought that they were going to stick around a little bit longer and force him to back, or maybe try to look for a redive, but so much damage was done to the Trundle there that they do not actually opt for anything further.
It's going to mean that the gold has been evened up by that kill towards the top side.
Yeah, this game is incredibly close.
Yeah.
And we've seen, you know, in both games, a little bit of errors in the early game, but not really coming to pass in this one. Just some really aggressive play from Closer and a successful gank there on the Aatrox top side. I mean, it was in exchange for Dragon, right? Like, they were able to get the Scuttle top side and then come over, and Pyoshik wasn't there fast enough, nor was Closer. So it kind of feels like they got a cross map, basically, in the end.
Yep. Peter now just going to be using some stacks of his World Atlas and heading probably back towards that bottom lane, but Delight's going to show up as well, so a bit of a 2v2 here in mid.
The support's kind of got to get involved to keep this Rise relevant, as, you know, Peter comes over. Oh, a bit of a whiff.
Moonlight Vigil. It looked very cool. Didn't do very much. Zeus moving over here to help take down these grubs. Kanavi should be able to munch these ones.
It's tough.
We'll be able to secure it.
Tough to dive bottom side here as a cross, especially when they're on control vision here. It's going to take so long to actually set this up. Guma does not have flash. They are going to try to do it anyways. I mean, Delight has ult. He is Nautilus, so he can root them.
Yeah, does also have Aftershock as in goes Peter. They want to kill this Ziggs. Let's see whether they can actually find him. There's the onslaught of shadows, but down goes Peter. And Pyoshik now at full health. Does have to deal with Zeka rotating over, but Closer is right behind him.
I think it's worth Zeka had to ult there, or I mean, didn't have to, but opted to, and isn't able to really impact the play. Closer crushing mid this hard has made the rest of the map really feel quite strained for Hanwha Life Esports.
Yeah, I'd agree. But it's 1-for-1, sort of all over the place after, you know, those first couple of kills did go down. And so if that continues, then this game is going to stay pretty close.
It's a kill for the Aphelios versus a kill for the Nautilus, but
that's a good point.
At the end of the day, I mean, they still got grubs too, right? So it's not just that play there. That play was forced because they gave grubs on the top side. So Pioshik was like, we have to get something back, and they were able to at least get that BF sword put together here for Duckdom.
Zeus just going to not really care too much about these chains. So we're going to have a look at this play one more time.
Yeah, Guma doesn't have flash. The Calirum shot does miss, and Delight just ults Peter to make sure they get the kill, and that is all they are going to get. But pretty self-explanatory there, like not much Guma could have done. Delight did the right thing, and it ulted the turret aggroed target.
Yep, satchel placement was just a little bit unfortunate. Didn't manage to walk over to the right angle, and so therefore wasn't able to save his life.
It's so hard in that moment with the ulting Hecarim and all that.
There were a lot of bad guys.
Kanavi is a bad guy.
He is. And he's going to be able to throw down a parking cone here. There's a subjugate as well, and Dudu is just dead. Sliced and diced, turned into sushi.
To be clear, I mean, from Dudu's perspective, I think Kanavi's pretty great. Like, I don't think he's a bad guy.
Yeah, true.
You know.
Don't get it wrong, everyone.
Well, please don't misunderstand.
Yeah.
He's ex-LPL. It's fine now.
He used to be a bad guy. Not anymore.
There was that arc where he played for Team Korea where I was like, he's good again?
Yeah.
And then he went back to the LPL.
Ah.
But now he's on our side.
Well,
this is going to be, looks like another potential dragon take here for DNS. There's a contest, though. Peter on the flank.
Yeah, Moonlight Vigil does go down, but there's the hook on to Darkdom. Has to flash out of the way of the Mega Inferno Bomb. The bouncing bomb's flying forward as well, but it's Delight to go down first. Petrifying Gaze, and it's a double here for Pioshik. As Zeus has eyes only for Darkdom, but he's not able to get up to him. And Pioshik is now just moving forward. The flash from Dudu as well doesn't find the Q, but Pioshik pounces on the Crocodile. And Zeka and Gumayushi, I don't think they're going to have enough to be able to take them down, although these health bars are so low. Infernal Chains, not going to be enough. And that's the kill over to the Rel of all people, as Duckdom needs to try and fight this dragon, as there's the satchel. It gets a little bit distracted, does the dragon, but Pioshik smites it down. And Gumayushi just being frustrated. No one really wants to fight him right now, as it's a Hextech Soul once again. I think Peter is just dead. Gumayushi will finally be able to take him down, I assume. But the crashdown comes on forward. Oh, no.
Hextech Gate.
He takes the Hextech Gate to safety. Wow, I was sure that was going to be a kill.
Nah. You know, technology. We've moved past supports dying randomly like that.
I guess so. Wow. Technology really has come a long way.
Duckdom does not have his summoner spell.
Yeah, what about AD Carries just dying? That could be a thing that happens here, as he's got Infernum and Severum not really helping out here, and it's just going to be a bonk to the noggin to take him down. Kanavi going to grab some plates from this turret as well.
So you didn't get Peter, but you got the next best thing. In fact, the even betterest thing.
Yeah, the betterer thing.
Bestester.
Yeah.
So in this fight, Peter's flank here looks like it's going to be the main thing, but really it's just the setup for everybody peeling for Duckdom, and then the Petrifying Gaze just being the cherry on top here. Guma pressed his buttons, and he's like, I'm not an AD carry. You know, I know Zeus, you want to get on the back line here, but Duckdom's keeping him at arm's length, and Guma just cannot offer, unfortunately, enough damage. He's putting it in every time his cooldowns are back. He's trying to put a few autos in there, but the Aphelios is always going to be more powerful in this type of skirmish if he lives.
Oh, Dudu. Great angle. And is able to cut him down. Peter stealing the kill away was a little bit sad, but still, this Aatrox is going to be pretty scary. Duckdom does have red-white, but I don't know whether that's going to be enough to actually do anything here, as he's just eaten by Kanavi again.
So the question we had was, will they be able to kill this Aphelios? They did not on the Dragon fight, but they have repeatedly done it when he's trying to farm in the bottom.
They got the memo. They were like, you know what? We should kill this Aphelios. And you know what they did? They killed him twice. So really good work.
Kanavi is taking the enemy red buff now.
Yeah, I don't think Pioshik's going to be able to stop that one from going down, as Gumayushi also has a red buff as well.
Raptors have not been as successful for him.
No.
When you take the Aphelios off the map like that, you can take even more. You can take the jungle.
Oh, dear. Zeka he was almost out, but now he's pretty dead.
Yeah, it sounded...
As the horses just canter on top of him. Oh no!
It sounded like he was going to be able to complete the recall, but
That's what I thought too.
I guess not.
Well, Dominus, World Ender, we've got ultimates coming out here from both of our top laners, as Dudu is just thinking that maybe no is going to be his answer for whether or not he wants to fight, as there are a lot of people making their way up towards his top side. As Hextech Minefield goes down, and Dudu, I think, is just dead. Depth Charge might be enough to finish him off, but Gumushi, he has the damage and is able to take down the Aatrox.
This is going to be an exchange for a bit of crescendum damage here on the mid turret. Kanavi does not know that Duckdom is not alone.
Well, it's 2 plates immediately taken down here as Pyoshik might be in trouble as he takes about 1 billion turret shots. Onslaught of Shadows to try and get him to safety, but he gets smoked. The Magnet Storm is not enough to save the horse, and Duckdom, oh dear, he is once again the target, and he is once again dead.
Delight is having a game.
He is.
He is everywhere. He's hitting these max range dredge lines. He was almost able to get Zeka ahead in the lane. He is omnipresent, it feels, in this game, and it pays off in a big way here as Duckdom still did not have his flash there.
And it looked like DNS were actually in a good position and have since just kind of been at the mercy of HLE in back-to-back plays, and despite that team fight going well, they're now behind 3,000 gold.
Yeah, it's really, really quite rough. As this looks initially like it's going to be a really successful setup here. Pyoshik ends up taking a lot of damage. The cone here actually makes him really take a bunch of extra damage. They just focus him down, and then Duckdom is like, maybe I could do something to get dredge lined. He was going to die no matter what, but you know.
Ghost not really helping him
Not very
in that
helpful.
moment.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Ghost is on his previous team and not this one. As HLE looking to take down this Rift Herald, they should be able to do so pretty comfortably. Kanavi with the King's Tribute gets full health immediately afterwards. Feels pretty cool there as Moonshot discovers Gumushi and Delight.
Going to be maybe a turret going down for Closer if he gets some additional time. Not going to be around to defend this one though, so could just straight up be a trade. It looks like that is going to be the case.
Yep.
It takes him a little bit of time to clear that wave, but I think he should get it there in the bottom lane. The mid turret incredibly more valuable though.
And not actually going to be able to make his way towards it because there are a lot of bad guys moving down towards that bottom side.
Really unlucky for him. Wow.
The
Turret
minions
denied.
almost take it down. And I mean, that is just kind of standing gold waiting to go over to DNS. But still.
They are now having their eyes on this dragon, which would be Hextech's sole point. If there's a way back into the game, that is absolutely it. That's additional peel for the Cephalios. All those slows are going to feel amazing if they can secure it. And when you look at the setup here for this fight, they have full prio. They have Ghost and ult for Pyoshik. So this is, I think, the last stand here for DNS. If they mess this fight up, if they cannot win this one cleanly, it might just be all downhill from here.
There's the minefield. Pyoshik taking a bit of damage from that as Dudu now looking for that flank angle as Pyoshik's running real quick.
Zeka just wants to ult in.
Yeah.
He can both clear this wave and then ult in. And DNS are not being decisive. They want to either push Zeka or start this drag, and Dudu's trying to collapse the other side.
This ward is getting so much value. It is absolutely ridiculous. Onslaught of Shadows does come in, but Zeka was ready for it as they saw exactly what they wanted to do. Pyoshik's running real fast with that Ghost, but Zeka used his as well as the flash. But now no Onslaught of Shadows, and Dudu in the back of this Dragon Pit does have to get himself out with that Umbral Dash.
I mean, basically, HLE have checkmate here with his position. I mean, Zeka lost his summons, but they lost the Hecarim ultimate, so I think they're pretty okay with the trade, because Zeka could just use his ult to get into this fight at any moment here, and DNS are going to have to find an angle with Peter, or just leave, question mark? I guess they're just going to say, look, I mean, this is just not viable. It was checkmate. Nice try.
And Rift Herald is piloted here by Delight. I don't know whether that's exactly what they wanted to do. Kanavi really likes putting down the Rift Herald so that he can get into it in a team fight. That is not going to be the option. However, it's just one Hextech Dragon. It's not the end of the world here for DNS, but it does show that HLE really did put themselves back in a much better position after that initial lost team fight around the last Dragon.
There's a lot of ways to look at this. I think Hanwha-Life's positioning was phenomenal there with Zeka dealing with the minion wave, had it exactly where he wanted it, so he could both safely clear minions and Realm Warp in. They tried to push him. He got away, used his summons, but they're like, all right, use Hecarim ult. We just go back to the same setup. Dudu's collapse there felt pretty muted because they just could not actually stop the Rise from coming in and doing insane work. So Zeka was basically in two places at once there. I think the call to just not go for that fight feels painful, but because you have the scaling of Helios and you already have Double Dragon, if it was Hextech's sole point for a DNS, you'd probably just send it there, right? Because you have the double dragon there, you're like, let's just scale. You know, maybe Duckdom will get it done. He almost got it done on the Sivir in game 1, so perhaps he's going to be our win con again.
Looking for an Infinity Edge. Should be coming in pretty quickly. Only needs about 1400, something like that. And then he will be ready. Red-white guns put together now, but not really a fight to use them on just yet. Is Gumayusi able to farm at range very, very comfortably. 2 items done here for Pyosik. Does finish off the Black Cleaver as item number 2. Spear of Sojourn was the first choice. Still yet to have that new one. But we'll see whether he puts that together next. As he does have a possible angle. There is the Onslaught of Shadows as he gets on top of Gumayusi. He flashes away. Hextech Minefield is there though, and down goes the horse with 0 response from DNS. As Dudu now looking for it against Zeus here. Hits basically everything that he wants to, but does still have to get himself out as Peter crashes over the wall. That is going to keep him safe.
It looked like a huge opportunity for Pyosik and crew. There's just no follow-up.
Yeah.
Guma flashed, and that was the end of the story. Very valuable flash, but ultimately nothing comes of it. If this was a different scenario where the follow-up was ready, it could have actually been what gets DNS back into this game. I mean, the gold lead has kind of ballooned up to 5,000 here.
Yeah, this is the thing. HLE are just taking incremental advantages.
And it's mostly turrets. You know, they're actually getting significant real damage onto the map here. As Peter is blast coning away when this happens, the cone blocks Duckdom from red white.
So good.
They just cannot do anything here to follow up, and the engage is wasted. And similarly to Pyosik's attempted save on the top side, he's just like, I did the thing! And then he promptly dies.
Yep. Unfortunately, just wasn't able to get too much done. He does have 4 of the team's kills out of the 7, so he's not exactly super far behind, but he has died quite a few times.
So many of Pyosik's iconic wins in the LCK have been with this champion in late game scenarios where he saves the game. Dudu.
Yeah, there's the Umbra Dash flash, but unfortunately there's a cone, and sometimes a cone is all you need. And that is what takes down Dudu yet again. 0 and 3 now on the Aatrox as Closer here towards the top side will be able to take some plates here and does have a minion wave conga lining in, so might be able to get even more. We'll see. That turret is still pretty healthy, and this Cassiopeia doesn't do a massive amount of damage to them. Does have the first 2 items completed though. Those scaling ones are now done. But HLE are just taking an inner turret here towards the bottom lane.
Yeah, I think that this is not really the trade that DNS wants, but it's the only trade that HLE will allow.
Yeah, and they're also going to take an inhibitor turret.
I will receive an inhibitor turret and possibly an inhibitor. You will receive almost a top lane turret.
Well, that's another minion wave coming in. So they are going to back away. Duckdom does move down here, but if they knew what we knew, then they probably could have almost killed Duckdom and still managed to take out that turret.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually occur there as they didn't have enough information about who was on the map.
Well,
and does make a lot of sense.
Playing safe is not always the MO of this team, but in this case, I think it is the correct call.
I would agree.
The dragon spawns in 30 seconds. It's the same sort of Hail Mary. If DNS lose this fight, it's over, but it feels like this fight is just impossible. They had the checkmate position last time. Zeka's got his sums back up. I mean, they need a miracle here, and it's going to have to start with Pyosik somehow.
Yep. Duckdom has 1 shot left on this Graviton. Let's see what he's going to use it for. He might just use it on the wave. Yep. Does just want to get towards Severum now.
And Fernum could be decent in this fight, but
Red and white is very close to being set up, and Infernum Ultimate could actually be very dangerous though. So let's see.
It's going to require Pyosik to make something happen here. He's flashless, so he has to get over the wall manually before he goes in. He doesn't want to ult that. Wants to get on top of the champions with that ability.
Well, DNS not turning their attention towards this mid lane, wanting to get control there as the Dragon going down lower and lower. Zeus and Dudu just fighting off to the side. Minefield is put down there by Gumayusi. Zeus gets into the pit, Mega Inferno Bomb on top of DNS as they look for the angle. Dragon is secured here by HLE, but now the fight is on. Down goes the light to start it off as red-white guns have been put together by Duckdom. Zeka able to hold him in position with that Rune Prison though. And so it is just a kill and trade for the Dragon, and I think HLE are pretty happy with the outcome.
HLE setups on both of these Dragons have just been kind of unbreakable, infallible. There's no way for DNS to make a play here. And when it comes down to the smite fight, that's when they look for the engage. And look at this, Closer is the target. Delight uses the Aphelios to taxi his way in. Closer goes super low, so he can't offer damage. It's only Duckdom who can do that. Delight sacrifices himself to guarantee they get the smite, and also to prevent Pyosik from really getting into a position to actually set anything up there.
Yeah, Pyosik almost just died to a minefield alone.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like he just cantered around the minefield and almost died.
And like now, Duckdom has IE, but Guma almost has Death Cap. And it's not equivalent what these items breakpoints mean, obviously, because it's an AD carrier that's doing consistent damage versus Guma doing big burst. But we have as much control as Han will have and continue to remain in control of, and you get a bunch of ability haste from these two Hextech Dragons. You're feeling pretty good if you're the Death Cap wielder, which he will be very soon.
Why is Pyosik a level ahead of Zeka? Well, Kanavi is
Zeka,
as well.
he didn't have the greatest time in the lane.
Yeah.
He died 3 times. I suppose there could be some digging we could do, but
Yeah, I think we could probably figure that one out.
I mean, he almost has 200 CS.
Oh, Peter does have a Shattering Strike to offer back here after the dredge line does connect. With DNS standing their ground. Closer is pretty scary, but he's been pretty quiet over the last little while.
The Baron Pit is the scariest place to be into a Hecarim composition. So
But also, there's a Ziggs.
yeah, I kind of think that this game's going to slow down to the next dragon again, because like the side lane that we've seen HLE do, there's a limit to it, right? Like they can't actually push any further. It's not safe to do so. They are going to start this dragon up. I'm a little bit surprised by this, but they have insane vision.
Yeah, there is a ward down, and so DNS do know what's going on. Duckdom, he's got the long-range weaponry this time around.
They got the TP out of the Aatrox.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, so Dudu is just going to step on a minefield.
Stepped
Does
on
have
a Lego.
Big old shield. That's called wearing shoes before you step on the Legos.
And now DNS are going to try to threaten something here? I don't think so. So like I said, we're going to have the next fight on the dragon.
Yes. It's what it is looking like, 26 minutes into the game. But this one, I mean, it's still 5,000 the lead for HLE. They still have a lot of control.
Closer almost level 16. You know, he is a big secondary threat in these fights.
That's a cool hat for Gumayushi.
All that DNS need to win a fight, even 5,000 gold lead here, be damned, is some setup here with Closer and Peter. Or maybe if the Hecarim can actually do something this game, it would be great.
Yeah, Peter is in trouble, does crash over the wall, has to flash to avoid that one. Mega Inferno Bomb comes down, and Peter is so close to dead. Zeus will be able to get it done as there's a Realm Warp. Petrifying Gaze onto 2, and the Onslaught of Shadows comes through as well. Duckdom trying to get the damage down as he flashes out of the way. Good use of the Graviton there to peel for himself. Zeus just makes his way out. And Moonlight Vigil, I don't think that's going to quite be enough there. Zeus is pretty tanky still. It's a lot of things he can do from a very long range, but still not able to kill the Crocodile.
Is it enough to stop the Baron? I don't think so. Zeus needs to be careful, though.
Yeah, Kanavi is so incredibly healthy as well. He can tank this for days.
There's no engage. There's no way to get on top of Guma. He can actually stand in the front. He does not care. And I think that is just finally going to be the Baron going over here for Hanwha Life.
Yep. And they also got the flash out of Duckdom as well as the Ghost. So next fight is going to be even easier on this Hextech Dragon. Quadra Hextech Soul could be coming in here for HLE if the game lasts that long.
This feels like same story as game 1. Early game fine for DNS, lose control, and then HLE get every single dragon. And sure, you got the Scuttle. But was it worth it? Was it worth it, Peter?
No, they didn't get the Scuttle.
Oh, actually, I thought they got it. Well, you almost got the Scuttle.
Yeah.
Was it worth it, Peter?
I would say no.
I mean, if you look at how this fight could have gone if there was just one little extra bit of CC, you know, HLE probably wouldn't have chased them through a choke point if Peter was alive and had ult at that moment, but a lot of damage on the Zeus.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, now as DNS, you're like, well, that's it. We don't have any engage. We can't get them. We can't get the bad guys.
Well, this inhibitor turret is not long for the world. That's just going to blow up thanks to a satchel. Inhibitor is going to follow as well.
I mean, there were 2 in top lanes. They can just get this for free.
Yeah, teleport flank angle for the Cassiopeia of all champions as they take out 2 inhibitors.
They are kind of in an awkward spot here, though, with Closer's angle.
Yeah. As the Hex Gate for Zeus, he's on a pretty good flank angle as now Kanavi dives on top of the Snake Lady. Mega Inferno Bomb goes down and she will die. Onslaught of Shadows a little bit late in this one as Dom is the target and he's swept up by Zeus. And HLE, I think, will now just parade towards the enemy Nexus and take it down. DNS, it was a decent start. They had that one good fight, but it's been all HLE the entire time since. 10,000 gold the lead, and they will be able to pick up the win here and make it 2-0 on the week.
HLE bouncing back strong. It was not the most convincing series from this squad, and if you're having trouble picking POM, just vote Delight. You're welcome. I made the choice for you. It's really the right call. He was the most consistent performer across his team.
Gumyushi's going to win it though.
Yeah, but if you're having a moral quandary, if you're having an uncomfortable conversation with your fellow analysts or Chijijik chatters, and you're not sure if actually any vote is morally correct, just know that Delight is the right one. No one will ever be upset. He had a great series.
I would agree.
Every other player had amazing moments, but had less amazing moments as well.
Yes. I think Delight just over the entire series was definitely the most consistent player. His Bard game also actually had some decent moments, even if they did lose.
And
his Rakan was so good.
In Guma's defense, his Corki was pretty good even in the loss. His Varus was amazing, and his Ziggs was good enough. I mean, the whole team really just kind of won that one hard together in the final game. He was the one who hit the satchel onto the Aphelios at the very end on that final fight.
He was also using Ziggs, you know, and that is evolution here for Gumyushi. I know that even on T1 towards the end of last year, it definitely had some great games, but
the bad
still
news,
not a pick that we associate with it.
The bad news, Atlas, I have to tell you the bad news.
Oh, tell me the bad news.
So we've had this trend. If you guys weren't here for the beginning of the broadcast, we have 5 game days and the teams tie up. So if you're a D+ fan, about to get 2-0'd.
Wait. Or are they going to win 2-0?
No, because it's always, because then it would be
both it has
of the elder teams would have won. So
so now it's the boring timeline.
It's a 10, and it's 2-0 Genji. Sorry guys, unlucky.
Well, Group Elder move up to 9 points here, and like you're saying, if Genji managed to win this next one, then we have tied up groups. Let's have a look at some of the highlights here, as unfortunately, Pioshik on this Hecarim didn't exactly get as much done as he really wanted to, but this was the good fight for DNS.
It's hard to play from behind. Yeah, this was the fight where Dom really did pop off, and obviously had a lot of help, right? Like when DNS has been playing today, if Dom has frontline, he can shoot. It works really well. But when you fall behind, and Hecarim is just kind of watching the team fight and or stepping on a lot of Legos.
Yeah, there were a lot of Legos.
He's got 4 legs to step on them with, so it's really painful. This was a bit of a disaster, unfortunately. Dom also just a casualty of this play. Delight, really good performance. I know that was the funny thing everyone was talking about with the Rakan in Game 2, but I think for me, he was the one who deserves it.
I think he played a very, very good series, but I also think that Gumyushi had a great one. His control with the Ziggs was absolutely fantastic. Very frustrating for DNS that they were never able to get on top of him. And like this minefield here, for example, meant that Closer was unable to do anything. And so even though this Cassiopeia was relatively fed at the early stages of the game, what did he do later on? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. And then in this final moment here, Closer is a bit ambitious with his flank. They read it really well. And then watch Duckers. Guma's like, don't stand there. Yeah. Oh no! Zeus got him too. The XT1 players get him. 1-2 punch.
Yeah, a little bit of revenge.
He just lost to T1 in the World Finals. He hates that team.
Well, right now you can see Dudu did a fair bit of damage, but Dom wasn't quite able to. Gumyushi able to layer in a whole bunch of those bombs and minefields and made life a living hell here for DNS. But I do want to say, DN Supers made him work for it, and this is a team that didn't do very much winning in their last year of play, and so now looking a little bit better, you have to say.
This comp was a little bit tough to pull off here for DNS.
Man,
Closer had a great lane,
not a whole
and then
lot
didn't do anything after that. Look at he has more lane damage than he has in the rest of the game. I think this will come as a surprise to literally 0 people who have ever watched the LCK.
Indeed.
And I think it's deserved that Guma picks it up. I think he was probably the second best option in my mind. His Varus was absolutely insane in Game 1. You practically could have voted for him for that performance alone.
Yep.
And then was pretty consistent across the next 2 games. And after having an abhorrent performance against Bro at the very beginning of the week, it feels really nice if you're a Guma fan to just be reminded that on his best days, the guy is out of control good.
Yeah, he looked absolutely fantastic, and also playing towards his style, right? Which is a lot of like poke and sit back and kite and make things work that way. It looked quite frustrating for DNS to deal with, but it was a masterclass on his side, and being able to make the Ziggs look that incredibly good is something that not many of our players can do. So hats off to Guma, a fantastic performance there, but like you say, definitely needed a bit of bounce back here, and hopefully this means better things for HLE moving forward, but it's that lost game in the middle that really might cast some doubts. What you need to do is be very selective when it comes to your memory, and everything looks fine.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the trend of the tie groups might end. I'd love to see an upset. I'd love to see D+ do well to disappoint us later. Like, they shouldn't disappoint us today. It's too early. And would we really be disappointed if they lost to undefeated Gen.G? Not really, but if they play a really close series and bring us to 6 instead of 5 and still lose, and we still have the curse that way, that's kind of cool. I'm hoping the next series is going to deliver, because it's one of the most hyped series of the week. And maybe D+ can finally end the loss streak against Gen.G. It has been immaculate.
There is a possibility that D+ are the only team that remain undefeated by the end of the week. It does involve BNK beating T1, though, tomorrow. That would be what needs to happen, because, of course, Gen.G and T1 are both undefeated at the moment in their group, and DK, the only ones undefeated in theirs. So in order for Group Elder to remain with an undefeated team, they're going to require DK to win, and we'll see whether they can actually do that after this interview with Gumayushi. And it's really good to be able to hear from him after his transition over to being an HLE player. And so now we'll be able to have a bit of a chat to him. And there he is on the stage right now. So let's throw it over for the interview.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation, joined by Gumayushi on the side of Hana Life Esports. Congratulations! In today's pivotal match, you were able to close out a 3-game series with a victory. How do you feel? You know, yet again, today was a not an easy match, and I'm just really glad that we're able to close it out today. They say that it's bot meta, but we haven't actually been getting much bot POMs in the LCK, so after the POM ruler god, you're the second bot player to take this POM, so how would you explain this? I guess it wasn't bot meta after all. You know, I think it's really the gold income that makes that supposedly theoretically makes bots strong, but I don't think it's the same on stage. And DN Supers today were quite gritty, making the match super close. So what gave you the most trouble? First of all, you know, it was the duo that we had faced in the last World's Finals. And I feel like overall, all the teams have upgraded, and I think they're all really, really good. So we were expecting it to be a difficult matchup. And as expected from a Varus skin haver, we witnessed a phenomenal performance from you in Game 1. So did you check your DPM? You know, but I didn't get a chance to check. Well, you had contributed a lot in that game, so did you expect this POM after that? You know, just looking at the overall big picture, I don't think it's really enough to get a POM just from a single game. You know, Varus is actually getting buffed next patch, so there's a higher chance that he will be played in other lanes. So, he is being considered a must-ban champion, so what are your thoughts? So lately, I don't think that Varus is a very good pick. And yeah, I noticed that he's getting a pretty big buff. So yeah, I do expect him to be banned pretty often. And in Game 3 against the Aphelios, you guys took Ryze and Ziggs. So Ziggs seemed very effective against Aphelios, so can you walk us through the matchup? Aphelios versus Ziggs, you know, in the 2021 finals in DK, we had lost against the DK in the same matchup. So I think, yeah, Ziggs is actually really good against the Felios. So today, your Ziggs took the first win out of the stats. He actually had 0 wins so far. So do you think he's actually a pretty good pick? Yeah, I think so. But it's only effective when it comes to like getting a good angle to actually pick him up in a comp. So question about your draft. Lately, Hanwha Live Esports has been prioritizing high-tier meta picks, and it looks like a lot of times your comp looks quite difficult to execute. So what are you guys focusing on the most? So in game 2, yeah, I think it was quite challenging. It definitely had a high difficulty. I feel like we usually though try to take bot prio, and that's how we build our draft around. So it's still earlier on in the season. Perhaps there are also challenges building synergy, and as you guys play out the group battle, what's something you guys have been discussing frequently about? Just to repeat the question, what is the process of trying to get your synergy up? I think team chemistry really does have like a definite thing that you have to focus on. So I think that's just something that we try to focus on the most, like the key in terms of building our synergy. So next week is Super Week, and you'll face Baron Group's leader, Gen G, in a best-of-5 series. So aside from the 2 points on the line, you cannot lose as the Elder Group leader. What mindset do you have? Obviously, we cannot lose. You know, although we are the leader, we have 2 wins and 2 losses, but despite that, we want to make sure that we can show that we are not an easy opponent to take down either. And that's the end of the interview with Gumayushi, and back to the space. Thank you.